Hey guys, how are all of you beautiful people? Hope all of you are doing fine, and yes, this is a new series, Marvel Earth 999,000. An unknown entity waved the supposedly limb-looking arm, knocking unconscious a fated but unfateful person, sending him to an unknown space and time, dreaming about the thinnest and lacklustre red string. A man with a soul unique for himself, unknown if it's better or worse than everybody. Story unknown, or is it? So let's start without any delay. Day 1, 5:22 a.m. The harsh darkness of his room brought about the memory of his past, once more. Time and again his thoughts making himself a miserable. A poorly lit room, unorganized things, and a desktop computer could be seen displaying a movie that is paused. The movie has been popular and many people also watched it. A young man could be seen laying on his bed while holding his phone, but instead of focusing, he's more like daydreaming. Brian, 29 years old, he's been alone since he graduated from college, but keep getting in touch with his family when he have time. Being alone has its advantage and also the disadvantage, since being alone is dangerous because once you know how peaceful it is, you will never like to be bothered by anyone. Shit. Sigh. Is there something wrong with this world, or is there something wrong with me? My thoughts always reasoned that the universe is wide and endless, unknown and infinite, while here I am having a problem for having no idea what my purpose in life is. Brian sighed again as his messed up thoughts occur again while he was distracted. Suddenly the surroundings got quiet. His monologue thoughts shattered when he noticed that none of the things around him was moving. He got up and walked to the door. He wanted to look outside to know what is happening, but he hesitated and thought he should maybe start to observe his room to find clue on what is this phenomenon. His heart skipped a beat, unknown even to him whether it was excitement or anxiety or even something else. He looked throughout the things he can find in his room, while there's not much thing because he is minimalist with minor obsessive compulsive disorder that prevents him to have many things that looks disorganized. There was no clicking from the wall clock since the hands of the clock stop moving. Appliances like electric fan has stopped. My first thought was maybe there was a blackout, but there was a Wi-Fi that has light and the computer is still on, but I guess my fan is just broken. I observed that this phenomenon is unbelievable, but I did not panic that much. I looked through the window and I expected that there would be more people like me also observing this phenomenon, but what I saw was the world is still, like the movie he is watching earlier when he paused it. Time passed as he observed more and more things, like his phone calling friends, family numbers, but no answer. Browsed through internet for information, but it only made him more confused because nothing is showing on the screen. Because of his heart beating so fast, he got tired and decided to lay down on his couch inside his room, closed his eyes and breathed. Then, like a power switch back on, appliances start working again. He opened his eyes, got up and walked out of the house to look at everything returned back to normal. Yep, I knew something is wrong with this world, and really something is wrong with me. Shit. While he was murmuring, he walked back into the house thinking maybe this is glitch inside the Matrix like in the movie. Wait, will someone notice that I am different than everyone? And some agent looking like drag me to arrest? While he is in deep thought, he heard a knock on the door. He got up panicking, maybe this is the time to say goodbye to my home and family even though nothing is happening. He thought that they will destroy his awareness, like they will reprogram me like everybody else. Knock knock. He opened the door ready to accept his faith while still making a joke about his faithful but unfaithful life, but didn't see anyone on the other side of the door. Weird, is this another glitch? Maybe they should fire their maintenance workers for not doing their job right. He laughed and go back inside. Just when he turned his back from the door, he felt a slap from the back of his head and the body disappeared from the room, unconscious. In the vast expanse outside the space, an unknown entity revealed the eye to look through the blue world floating in dark space in the corner of this universe. The eye observed in a careful way yet carelessly watching through the numerous red string connected to each life on this planet. There is brighter color red string than the others, red string wider than the others and the rest with normal size. The eye shone light through the blue planet and suddenly, the time inside the planet stopped. The movement of air and space and everything is on constant, nothing is working like a movie when suddenly paused. The unknown entity has unknown purpose, maybe only the eye knows the reason for appearing outside of this blue planet. The unknown entity checked everything and nothing seems needed much changes but it still notices a life form which has a unique but unnoticeable red string. It is the thinnest and lacklustre red string the eye ever saw. The eye observes intently but then the light shone again and the world switched back on. The eye with unknown thoughts once again looked to the unknown life form who has the thinnest and lacklustre red string, then the eye go back to the dark space. The unknown entity waved its arm looking dark limb. The space rippled and the eye disappeared like it took a drop of water in the ocean. Time, space, soul, dreams, light and darkness. It's cold and wet, thought Brian as he opened his eyes. The first thing he noticed was light from a bulb and white color room like a hospital with few equipment strap on his body. The cold and wet feeling he felt is his clothes because of sweating too much while being in excruciating pain, headache and confusion. Last thing he remembered was pain and confusion while also being hit in the back of the head while he is experiencing the unbelievable phenomenon that stopped the time with all things and people. He still thought he was going to be arrested by some unknown organizations for being different than everybody leading to this situation. His mind is confused because his mind remembered living two different lifetimes. One life was him living alone, working as a freelancer and spending most of his free time reading novels and watching anime. He also played games, but the former two took priority over most of his other hobbies. He had very few friends. He always felt that he didn't need much of a family time. He was happy as he was now. He worked hard, had his own apartment and spent his free time doing what he loved most. While on the other life he has loving family in most of his early life but that changed because of his parents' death. He has learned to live alone and independent at the early age but the longing for family and friends for warmth are still ingrained into the mind of the second memory. The former felt more real because he felt like he experienced it and the latter was more like a movie he watched in the past. The latter life he was named Cain and his parents was mixed Southeast Asian and Russian. This daydreaming however, will become a change most of his perspective in life somehow in the blink of an eye. There was a sound of door opening while he was deep in thought. Number 04 is awake. Most subjects experienced lethal hemorrhaging in the brain. Those who couldn't handle the increase of neural activity, have experienced several psychological problems including psychopathy, retardation, induced autism, and said an old man with a white coat who looked like a scientist. So what you're telling me, is that it failed again? Said someone who has monocle on his one eye. Brian O'Kane closed his eyes again after hearing their conversation because he remembered in his memories that he/Kane was kidnapped when he is a teenager to become a lab rat for an organization to create a human with metaphysical abilities. He is now the last subject who survived from experiments and they called us with code-named numbers instead of our normal names. There are two other subjects who succeeded early and already got abilities while I am the last subject but still failed to gain a superhuman abilities. This program was supposed to create and engineer enhanced soldiers that surpassed human limits and worked alongside machines, creating the perfect human weapon. This consisted of extreme training, genetic engineering, and enhancement. However, despite having the program ongoing for years, the results were dismal. Hundreds died under the experiments and tests, and those that didn't were almost always hurt or disabled in some way. Subject number 04 is different from the rest because while he is always sick and weak, he still survived the experiment from the beginning to the end until now. He is now deemed as useful for further study due to his weak constitution due to the numerous issues. Call someone to dispose the subject's body, ordered the monocle man. But sir, his body is still, replied the scientist. Follow my orders and dispose the subject. We will focus on the twins. They are valuable assets we have successfully made into a new superhuman. We'll follow your orders, sir. A voice came from behind the monocle man and old scientist. The two carried number 04 away as they turned, and all the two men had to do was to deliver subject number 04 to the disposal facility. Brian/Kane scanned the two men and noticed that they were the people supposed to dispose of him. The two men decided to take subject number 04 to a place where materials supposedly useless or trash needed to be disposed. Subject designation number 04. From this moment forwards, you are to be disposed. While the man with scar on his chin is giving his speech, he got suddenly interrupted. Hey, what are you saying like you are some great leader decommissioning a special soldier? The second man, who is bald, laughed at the antics of his co-worker. Come on, man. We're doing this since the beginning, have some fun while doing it for the last time, argued the man with scar on his chin. While the two men are having light conversations, Brian/Kane is having different thoughts because he already knows what is happening due to having a second memories. This became more crucial for his survival. Kane was subject no 04 designated to be meta-human from a certain organization. Moreover, in the past they have a history of successfully making or gaining superhuman abilities through the use of technology made by an extraterrestrial being. Kane was one of the first batch of subjects to get to experience invasive energy, and that means he had been alive since the first section of experimentation while also being the last to survive at the end of this project. He knows that something inside his body changed, but he ignores it. He got sick and weakened while being stuck at the underground without the warmth of sunlight. Kane spent his time as subject no 04. His purpose, according to the people around him, was to be subject for superhuman study. He had to survive anything to be useful, and only until the last moment his body refused to take more. First POV. However, Kane's last wish is granted. I know, because we changed soul or something like that, because according to his memories, he wants normal life and family. He want to become myself, or the one who shall live my life. His last wish is the same as mine, even though I only had my wish in secret, and that's why I got to live his life. Back to the present, the two men are now getting ready to dispose the body of subject no 04 with shooting him and throw to facility for this kind of disposal purposes. Their order was to make sure they deliver the subject without life and then return to the base after they are done with it. Right as the one guy was about to shoot subject no 04, the other man came over to him and noticed that subject no 04 is gone. However, it's currently morning, so the sun isn't rising yet. The two switched to bigger flashlight to find their target. It was clear that the two men came prepared for this kind of situation. The two split up, prepared to shoot if something ever move. Not long after, the bald man smirks and he notices something on the other side of the tree. He thought bingo, then open fire. A bloody foot revealed itself after the shot. it hurts. Damn it. The bald man sneered. Well, this gun is not supposedly just for look and for scaring people. The scarred chin man walked to their way and laughed. Ha ha ha, that was easy, this bastard is still sane. Should we report it? It's not like it's gonna change something, this guy is already a failure, his body can't handle any experiment anymore, replied the bald guy, but he still hesitated to shoot while thinking about it again. The scarred chin man saw this and volunteered to get a communicator to their vehicle. Well then, let me contact the head. Seeing all this, Subject No. 04 or Kane felt something in his mind snap. His body then started to strengthen, as he mustered up all his focus and the energy from his weak body. Get off of me! Bang! He threw a punch toward one of the men, sending him a few meters away. The bald man looked at No. 04 with surprised face, shocked at the fact that he was able to caught him off guard, and especially about the sudden strength. Adrenaline pushing his weakness away, Kane stood up and fended off the other man while enduring the pain on his feet that is leaking blood trail slowly. The scarred chin man immediately responded by shooting his gun and then proceeded to hit only 2 bullets on No. 04's leg and shoulder. He helped the bald guy to get up and follow up and jog towards Subject No. 04. Kane may have awakened his superhuman abilities, that's what his instincts is telling him. However, it is still not enough to put distance to him and the 2 guys who have guns. Unfortunately, he did not manage to fend off the 2 men and he was quickly surrounded by them. Then they pointed their weapons at him. Now, there really wasn't anything he could do, and he slumped to the ground. His adrenaline slowed down while the lasts of his strength faded. Whoops, this guy can really run fast, said the bald man. I already contacted the head and his reply was shoot him first, and if he is still alive by then get him back for further study, said the scarred chin man while tying up Subject No. 04 on the ground and got up. Let me do the work to this bastard. The bald guy aimed his gun to Subject No. 04 and shot him 7 times. Let me check. The scarred chin man looked to his body, blood is coming out slowly but the breath already stopped. While he was checking No. 04, sunlight came to their position. The dawn has come and sunlight reached their positions. Sunlight covered half of Subject No. 04's body. The cells excitedly absorb the sunlight and like jumping and running, it's constantly absorbing solar energy and heartbeat resume and white breath comes out of his mouth. The 2 men noticed this and looked at each other and then decided to go back to the base with Subject No. 04's body. Subject No. 04 was taken all the way to a building within the forest. This was the headquarters for operation and human experimentation. It was one of the tallest building here, and as he was being escorted to an unknown place, the people they passed all look at them with shocked. His clothes was blooded, his limbs locked up with high-tech restraints, and a blank look was plastered on Subject No. 04's face. By this time, he was able to stand and walk by himself. He already woke up at the entrance of this building. It was almost like they were transporting a prisoner. Well, it's not like Subject No. 04's situation is different. As they came down a long corridor on one of the upper floors of the tower though, the group stopped. A monocle man stood in front of them, and he stared at Subject No. 04 with an amused expression. Report to me what happened from the start, ordered the monocle man to the 2 men. The 2 immediately recounted what happened to the start from their car to the disposal facility, then how Subject No. 04 ran away and how they shoot him 10 times but still alive. And lastly, they reported what they guess what happened after sunlight affected and reached his body. The monocle man smiled at everything they said, and he was sure that another successful subject gained a superhuman abilities, and this might help his position and authority to advance further to become the leader of his organization. His ambition and greed, together with his leadership and intellectual mind for science and technology, help him achieve what he has today. All of this provided him power and authority along with wealth. Send him for further examination to the old scientist, and I want to know everything his body have, and tell him he can do anything as long as he didn't kill him. The monocle man already had a plan to brainwash subject number 04 for his own use. This is not like the twins, who have autonomous mind, and not unlike their other tools that can be abandoned when necessary. The twins had volunteered to be subjects in order for their revenge for who they thought destroy their family, causing war and catastrophic damages to the people of their country. The business of manufacturing weapons only leads to war and deaths, as they believe. Their hatred pushed them to the limits of human and gained abilities with the help of extraterrestrial weapon and experimentation. This enhanced their will to be stronger along with their new gained metaphysical abilities. It's been a week since subject number 04 has been apprehended. He experienced being injected, sliced. They took blood, muscle tissue, and even bone and bone marrow. This caused excruciating pain, as they don't go easy when taking all of this from his body. They examined his healing factor and strength. While it is excruciating painful being experimented on, he still doesn't lose hope, because he knows from the other scientist that he can still be useful and not get killed directly. Kane Povey. It's been a daily observation of his abilities. They discover that my cell activity is livelier when being exposed to sunlight. I also knows that they prevent me from absorbing too much solar energy, so that they can continue to cut and slice me without too much efforts. On the second week, I decided to be more obedient and cooperative, to spare more pain than be a rebellious guy who has to experience more pain. The third week I am apprehended was more fun, because I caused havoc and destroy things and buildings. I once heard weapons like me is double-edged sword. They want to know what will happen and what is my maximum output or my limit on absorbing solar energy. They regret being greedy that day, but it is only fleeting thought for them, because they have results, and surprisingly good, considering it is not too long before subject no 04 / I stop and come back to his / myself. They apprehended subject no 04 / me easily, maybe because this is the first time this happens, so I / subject number 04 still have no overall control to his / my abilities. The monocle man got a important news that the group who have everyone in the world feared and admired is coming to him, or specifically to his territory, because they know this is one of the headquarters. He immediately contacted his allies for support, but instead what he got was being told to evacuate immediately and take only the important documents and files, and bomb the whole headquarters to destroy everything and maybe kill 1 or 2 people on their enemy's group. Maniac. That was Baron Strucker thought when he listened to his allies' words. Baron Strucker refused to do that because this was all his lifelong dream, wealth and power. This headquarters is his powers. Without this he is nothing but a man with few connections and little to nothing influence. Why would he run when he can use everything inside here as my arsenal? The technology and private armed forces can help him develop power to influence the country, while he is also one of the heads that construct the organization. Baron Strucker immediately ordered his men to get ready for the assault of the Avengers to defend this base, using all his weapons and technology to support his troops. Hail Hydra! Hail Hydra! Hail Hydra! Baron Strucker first talked to the old scientist on the topic of the twin Maximoff. Is the twin ready to engage? Sir, we think we might have narrowed down the best superhuman in this planet. You see, we've consistently had better results with young twins, especially those at least under the age of 20, and they are still growing with time. There was recently a discovery that the stronger their emotion, the more powerful their abilities, the same as subject number 04, and he. The old scientist stopped speaking when talking about subject number 04. Continue first to the twins. Baron Strucker spoke. Yes, sir, the old scientist continues to tell his discovery on the power of the twins. But sir, I think the twins are still not enough to destroy the Avengers with their current abilities. The old scientist must warn his boss about the gain and losses compared to the Avengers, who has both powers and experienced. The twins are still young and lacking. This headquarters are already in the eye of Avengers, and you're still thinking about protecting the twins. The veins on Baron Strucker's forehead reveals that he is anxious and frustrated on the reply of his own scientist about lacking powers of his best weapon. But sir, once the twins are known, and their powers are revealed, the element of surprise will diminish their abilities. But the old scientist is still not backing down from his boss' anger. But the stubbornness of Baron Strucker was bound to win the argument. Order the twins not to attack the Avengers frontally. That is the only concession he can make for this old scientist. The old scientist is silent. He knows he can't make any concessions anymore unless he can take Baron Strucker's consequences of defying his orders. Baron Strucker walked to the underground to see his own personal weapon, subject number 04. Who has been brainwashed by him personally a week ago. Kane Povey. On the beginning of 4th week, the sudden change of things did not caught me off guard, since I already heard from the beginning that they will brainwash me, and since a powerful weapon like me is dangerous when left with autonomous thoughts, and I will be their enemies for sure, that's what they thought. In my past life, I've read many novels with different genres and watched anything that will interest me academically and for entertainment. Many scenarios come to my mind on what will happen to me. Torture, I've never done that or experience it. Hopelessness is maybe a fleeting thought, but I am a human from 21st century. Many things can distract me from my own thoughts, so no. Brainwashing, I've read so many times, but maybe because I have a young mind, so my will is not stronger than steel like other protagonist. On my first week here, I'm surprised that I am not just on different world, I'm also on different universe. Considering what I've experienced before coming here, I'm not that frustrated to be transmigrated to different universe. Like I said, this is my unspoken wish. I am also familiar to this universe, but not much, since it's been a long time I've watched those movies. I only recently watch a movie that interests me but have not even finished. Yes, movies. I thought silently. Because I am inside the headquarters of Baron Strucker, who created Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, the Maximoff twins. Being inside the Marvel Cinematic Universe that is full of dangers is unnerving to think about, but that's for those without power to protect themselves. Like the twin Maximoff, I gained superhuman powers through extraterrestrial weapon used by Loki called Mind Scepter. Wanda gained crimson magic abilities while Pietro gained super speed abilities. They will be two most powerful people on this planet in the future if the two both survive. The superhuman abilities I gained, well, according to those scientists, were enhanced strength, speed, endurance, enhanced senses, healing factor, and the state of overload. It is funny whenever I think about what happened when I overloaded, because the solar energy I absorbed was directly shot to my brain instead of distributing throughout my whole body. Only I know about it. The solar energy I've absorbed was distributed to my skin, blood, organ, bones and other parts. Similar to Superman, but I am not Kryptonian blood or genes, so I have few weaknesses, but it is better because I don't have to get weakened by kryptonite or red sun interrupted by lead, because I don't have any X-ray vision. I believe I will also get stronger over time and with training. I just need to survive this ordeal because I'm aware this base will get attacked by the Avengers and the two Maximoff will escape while Baron Strucker will get defeated. Due to my cooperation on experiments, I've not been able to experience abuse from Baron Strucker or other scientists, but they are still wary of me and my powers and still considers brainwashing me. Maybe because of my young mind and not so strong willpower, it only take 3 days before they created another winter warrior like Bucky Barnes. I've been trapped on my own mind, in my own words it's like a room with monitors. I see what my body is doing but I can't control it like normal. This continues for a week until the present day because I saw someone in front of me and who else can it be if not Baron Strucker? He is ordering me to get my real clothes because he needs me to protect and fight for him. Subject number 04, you will be codenamed Cold Amber. Baron Strucker smirked proudly like a child naming his new toy. Subject number 04 only nodded as a response, then immediately followed the order to change uniform. With a cold face with tint golden color eyes, I looked into the mirror and saw that my looks have both genes of a Russian and Southeast Asian because I recognize immediately the face of my former self and since my face from the past and now have similarities. After I get to dress in combat uniform, then I follow Baron Strucker to the base like a bodyguard. I don't know how they did it, but during brainwashing they transfer some languages to my brain and some skills on how to be a bodyguard. I can't speak yet the language, but I can understand different languages even without, though I'm trapped inside and no use or needs to speak. The Avengers initiated the attack while Baron Strucker responded immediately by sending his troops with exoskeleton and other technology. While looking around and following Baron Strucker, the headquarters still can't prevent the Avengers from penetrating the defense since their enemy was a guy with superhuman marksmanship and the limit of human physique, Hawkeye Clint Barton. Secondly, a female assassin injected with super spy serum trained to all martial arts, driving and hacking skills, Natasha Romanoff Black Widow. A demigod comes from outer space that can control weather and basically he calls himself the god of thunder, Thor Odinson. A remarkable scientist with 7 PhD in different fields of science and who can turn himself into an unstoppable force of hulking monster that has anger issues, Bruce Banner the Hulk. A hero since the World War II injected with the super soldier serum from Dr. Erskine. A soldier with a good heart fighting for what he thinks is right, stubborn man that has an ideal to be a protector of this world, Captain America Steve Rogers. And lastly, a genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist who creates an advanced prosthetic that the government considers the most advanced and dangerous weapon, but its owner thought that it is only safe through the use of its owner, Iron Man Tony Stark. While the unstoppable force of the Avengers is on its way, the Maximoff twins are getting ready to initiate attack on the Avengers' rear. Pietro plan look for the sharpshooter at the back of the team while Wanda stay at the base for protection and ambush the others. After an hour of battle, the people are anxiously waiting and watching. But the Avenger seems to have unlimited stamina, rushing together and cooperating with each other. Only 6 men dealt with large army that is using advanced gadgets and energy weapons. They're the Avengers, the men inside the castle thought fearfully. Baron Strucker watched his troops diminished in front of his eyes. Using his cunning mind instead of retreating to hide, he convinced his troops they cannot destroy our base with our newest technology. He ordered to put up the shield around the castle. The morale of the troops came back up with the assurance of the shield. The Americans send its circus freaks to test us, he mocked the Avengers and then shouted. No surrender. No surrender. No surrender. I am not yet ready to surrender, the things in here is ready to, he whispers to the man next to him but got interrupted. No, we still have the twins and this guy. The man next to Baron Strucker said. Aware that even with their tricks it's still not enough for the current Avengers. Baron Strucker still decided to order the 3 superhumans to attack when opportunity comes while he makes his way and others be the bait. Iron Man easily bypassed the shield and came from the outside, and the Hydra troops responded by shooting him with guns and bullets like a normal cannon fodder villain. Iron Man's shoulder mini artillery incapacitated the men with guns and disarmed the weapons just to make the room safer. Getting out of the armor, Tony Stark started to look for important things inside the castle while the armor's I automatically protect him from threat. Tony Stark easily found the secret laboratory underground, but the people already evacuated from this headquarters. Thor and Captain America met and defeated again a group of lining troops with the use of both technique that look like Thor's hammer and Captain America's shield rebound shockwave. Captain America infiltrated inside the castle only to meet Baron Strucker. While talking, Wanda attacked him and pushed him down the stairs and go back to attack Tony inside one of the secret laboratory. Steve Rogers immediately warned the team of an enhanced female enemy and the directly knocking out Baron Strucker. Wanda used her abilities to break the mind of the team, Iron Man Tony Stark. Using her abilities to resurface the most scary nightmare Tony Stark has, which is the Avengers' death. Considering Tony's change and his responsibilities as the mind of the team, he shouldered the life of each individual because of his trauma that he could not protect the man who helped him change and survive in a cave. The twins behind Tony Stark smiled while he takes the scepter. This way he can confiscate it and maybe use it to benefit the world. With the help of his intellect, he can create an armor around the world. This thought just suddenly occurred to him when he dreamed of the Chitauri successfully invading Earth without any protection. The mission is almost finished when suddenly they heard a rumbling from the collision of Thor and Captain America. The wall of the sturdy castle shook. They are caught off guard when they saw a young man walking to them slowly and then suddenly arrive in front of them, punching their armor and shield simultaneously. The Maximoff twins get to the place to watch where something happens that caused the rumbling of the castle. What they saw was a young man they recognize as one with them during early days of experiments. They met multiple times but didn't get the chance to talk because of rules. They are caught off guard when they saw a young man walking to them slowly and then suddenly arrive in front of them, punching and kicking their armor and shield simultaneously. The young man looked cold without any expressions on his face, just looking with his golden tint eyes to stare at Thor, who take his punch head on without any damage, and Captain America, who has fast reflexes and defended his surprise attack but still get to step back. Kane's POV. Absorbing solar energy for a few dozen minutes is the only time he got to fight these two famous heroes. This energy is only enough to fight for a few minutes before he run out of juice. Are you curious what is happening to my mind right now? Am I still brainwashed? Well, it's complicated, but let's explain it easily. I am still myself, but my brain is more on following the order Baron Strucker gave. I am aware of what I'm doing, but my brain think this is the only thing I should do before anything else. The order was to attack the Avengers with all my powers. Back to the present, I rushed to Thor, fight him head-on with his hammer swinging on my chest, while sneak attacking him with 2 fingers on his eyes. I got blown away and crashed to a wall but remain on my foot. Captain America charged at me with his reliable shield, dodging him by jumping high using the cement on the side of the wall as foothold, then charge again to Thor. Thor underestimate my age and capabilities to sneak attack, that's why my 2-fingered sneak attack connected to his eyes. Captain throw his shield at me mid-air, I got hit on the side, then bounce to the wall, grab a brick, throw it to Thor and Captain, but Thor swing his hammer like a baseball. The brick was crushed into powder by his raw power, and Captain America recollect his vibranium shield to defend and get ready to attack again. Just by a few minutes of back-to-back confrontation, they learn from their experience that I am learning quickly while fighting them. They still treat me as victim from lab experiments, that's why they are lenient on how they deal with me. They also noticed that my current state of mind is more like a brainwashed person. Moreover, the more I stay under the sun, the more energy I distribute throughout my whole body. So in another few minutes Iron Man came to our locations and watched the fight like a normal spectator. He complained that there is no popcorn beside him while watching the three brawl each other. Tony Stark scanned my whole body and noticed that my physique are constantly getting stronger, and my punches and kicks are also noticed by the other two, Thor and Steve, that I am getting powerful. Tony decided to end this confrontation. Hey guys, I think we should end this before he gets more dangerous or something worse might happen. Thor replied, this kid has much more to learn, but first I will teach him humility. Tony, Thor, don't use extreme method, he's just a kid, we must help him, he's mentally unstable, so just knock him out. Steve, a captain and as a protector, while this situation also reminded him of Bucky Barnes' appearance. Tony used stronger energy from his repulsor to push me to Thor's direction. Thor immediately responded by hammering my face. I instinctively defended using my arms, then got blown away farther, then passed through the castle and arrived at the forest. I can't feel my numb arms due to shock and electricity from Jonia. I jump high and sunlight covering me, the gravity around me look anything but normal as I am descending to the ground at a slow pace. Thor and Iron Man followed me and saw me descended slowly and still conscious. Thor with his hammer on the front flying and Tony behind him scanning my body and my abnormal physical activity. I kept getting stronger again. He wants to warn Thor, but a little too late. Thor and I immediately met frontally while Tony is behind. I evaded and used Thor's shoulder to support himself, grab Thor's cape. Tony got startled as he thought I will attack him, but to his surprise I used him as a foothold to throw Thor while grabbing his red cape and like a rocket slam Thor to the ground like a sack. I followed immediately by punching him in the face once, but the second time instead of punching him, I grabbed Thor's cape again and his body was swung to the threes, breaking it through sheer strength. Tony just watched him getting slammed, swung like a sack, and he immediately opened his arsenal of weapons to bomb me to the ground. Steve caught up to the three, seeing Tony bombarding the young man with continuous explosion like a terrorist. Steve immediately asked him to stop. Tony, are you planning to kill him? Steve, he is more dangerous than you think. He is constantly getting strong, Tony replied while scanning the area. Thor came back to the fight with dirty cape and armor. This kid must be stopped before he grows more stronger. What are you seeing, Tony? Steve asked Tony for information. Tony described what he's seeing but also warned them get ready for a knockout. While Kane is kneeling on the ground, his clothes only has what little pants left. The two side-eyed Tony and he reason, well, the situation is first time to. Kane coldly observed the three while absorbing the solar energy. Kane initiated the offensive by attacking Thor again, but it is just faster feint than normal. I could see Thor counter-attacked, missed as Kane lowered his body and grabbed Iron Man's foot, while Steve threw his shield at Kane, interrupting his offense. Tony used repulsor to attack Kane and fly away to create more distance. Kane kicked Steve in the chest, but Steve defended with his arms. Yeah, that is stronger than earlier, commented Steve, being flung a few meters away. Kane jumped to Tony and punched the bottom foot thruster that caused his flight off-balanced, Cain dragged him down, then kicked him down. Thor threw his hammer at Cain, as Cain have no other foothold, so he can't defend against that. While he is descending fast, Steve timed his charge to Cain like a mighty bull, and Cain was bounced to the direction of Tony. Iron Man used his most powerful Unibeam to create a gap of 3 seconds for Captain America and Thor combined attack. Captain America came behind of Cain and Thor directed his attack to Steve's shield. These combined attack created a powerful shockwave, enough force to knock out Cain. As they thought, Cain was unconscious lying on the ground. Tony called for support. Natasha, have you calmed down? Banner. How about Clint? Already done. Hey Shellhead, I saw couple of young man and women outside the castle. Natasha replied joking and told who she saw. Oh, about that, we just fought an enhanced young man, maybe they are from the same batch, be careful around them. Tony told her what he knows, and well, he didn't need to worry about her. Natasha paused for a while and told Tony they leave too fast, I should investigate them more. They are too dangerous outside the society, maybe there are more enhanced humans like them. Is this headquarters? Tony spoke to his I send MiG-07 to my location. The I replied, sending medical ice coffin. While having conversations with each other on the communicators, Cain woke up and leaped to the sky and high enough that allowed him stay afloat while descending very slow. He breathed under the sunlight until the vein on the side of his forehead is showing that solar energy he absorbed are directly coming to his brain. Shit, so that's it. He's absorbing sunlight to make himself powerful. Tony cursed as he immediately want to stop Cain from absorbing more power. One of Iron Man's thruster is useless now, so he only use one foot and the back thruster for balance. Repulsor cannon are targeted to Cain, but Cain suddenly descended faster and missed the shot. Thor and Steve watch from the ground. Around Cain's eyes, the surroundings lower and higher part of the eyes are looking menacing, since it look like it is accumulating energy preparing for an optic blast. The three saw Cain smiling widely, similar to a crazy person while staying afloat. The four people have a stared down contest, but the three only saw light instead of Cain's eyes. Boom. Sing. Bang. Crash. A few minutes later, the forest is basically destroyed, with the ground full of craters, and trees and stones are dug from the earth. The cause of this. The four people, one unconscious and the other three is breathing heavily. Thor's cape only has half left, the other has been ripped apart by Cain. Tony's armor needed to be repaired to the workshop, and Steve looked embarrassed by his face that have some dirt, and uniform need to also be stitched or just make a new one. There is billionaire and prince of most powerful kingdom on his both sides. Basically the fight was just a kid who didn't know how to control his powers and wreak havoc around him. The three needed to cooperate to each other to stop Cain from wreaking havoc to cities filled with people. Thankfully they are inside the forest, so no casualties are needed to worry about. But still, this young man is powerful, but also made him crazy. They didn't know how thankful Cain would be that this opportunity happens. While that state made him crazy like Hulk in anger. The brainwashing got rid, because instead of distributing solar energy throughout the whole body like normal procedure, it directly shoot up and only go up to his brain before the body, so it is like device being reformat, and the real Brian / Cain took over the body back again like normal. Tony immediately used MiG-07 to Cain, so it looks safety for him sleeping in ice without any sunlight. While observing again the young man's physique, he noticed the temperature no longer has its past activity and it gets back to normal operation, but who knows what might happen. Lock him up first and then examine him more carefully back at his facility. The subjugation of Cain is hard but more direct without tricks like earlier. The three got up to the Quinjet with Natasha piloting it expertly. Their destination was first go to South Korea to get Clint treatment to Helen Cho. They also take the chance to get the enhanced young man for examination. Less than an hour later, they reached their destination and landed on the pad. Helen Cho examined the medical ice coffin and the young man inside of it, then said his metabolism is normal, healthy, and many are similar with Captain Rogers. She looked at the others and asked, is he also a super soldier? But he is much more younger, so maybe he is a victim lab rat you saved from your recent mission. What an intelligent woman, she get an answer herself just for little clue. She's not wrong, but Steve and the others frown when she mention he is a victim lab rat. He's an enhanced superhuman experimented by Hydra. Steve tells her some information. But that information is enough for her to speculate more on what happens. While she's deep in thought, Natasha interrupted them by mentioning Tony, Steve and Thor needed to band together just to subjugate and knock out the young man. Natasha smirk. Bruce Banner, Clint and Helen looked at Steve and Tony. Thor is not here, maybe he goes back home to take his responsibility as Prince of Asgard. Tony explained to others who didn't know his abilities allows him to absorb solar energy from the sunlight to enhance himself, so the more time we waste the more he has bigger advantage, and Cap said he's just a kid so we can't hurt him too much and has to knock him out. Tony, he is a victim of Hydra human experiments and brainwashing, maybe he spent most of his recent years inside that hellhole, so don't hate him. We can talk about this once he woke up. Steve with soft spot for kids, especially victims of his longtime enemies, Hydra. Natasha reminded there are still 2 enhanced individuals on the loose, we must find them to minimize their threat. Couple of minutes the conversation changes to science and technology topic, then to Clint's condition. Clint's conditions is no longer critical because of nanotechnology machine created by Helen Cho. Helen Cho is one of the most brilliant beauty and brains at this era of superheroes. As she major in nanotechnology, she can create medicine to help quicker regeneration. The group of science geniuses are having discussion about this topic of artificial intelligence and that discussion about the recent mission. Tony Stark walked into the room and changed the subject by mentioning the party that will happen at Avengers Tower. Helen, you will be coming to the party, right? Unlike you guys, I have more important work that needs my focus on. I can't just leave it alone to have fun with you guys. Party after successful mission. Helen Cho wanted at first to decline the invitation to the party, but then she suddenly thought something. She wanted to ask while feigning the topic, is Thor going to be there? Avengers Tower, evening party. At the Avengers Tower, people filled the floor having different topics and talks, networking in the process, while others playing indoor sports and some are just focus on their drinks. Going to short scene of Rhodey recounting his story which he thinks is cool, but Tony and Thor didn't produce any surprise reactions to Rhodey's great story. Then I said, boom, you're looking for this. Rhodey excitedly said his punchline and then faced the 2 people while waiting for their amazement, but instead, dumbfounded and confused expressions are etched on both of their faces. Is that all? Tony and Thor ask. Rhodey's face fell for the 2's lacking reaction. Why am I even talk to you guys? Everybody said this story kills. Is that it? Yeah, War Machine story. Then very good then, very interesting story. Impressive. Thor gave his compliment to Rhodey to reduce awkwardness. Agent Hill walked to the group and butted in while asking Guy, where are the ladies? As a woman together with Natasha, Hill is also part of the Avengers, just not for on the ground mission but more like tech and information support for the team. Well, Pepper is busy on the company. Tony replied. and Jane is on a trip to multiple countries to study and her work make the convergence as foremost astronomer. Thor, making sure others heard his comment. Tony's ego won't back down to Thor and replied, and the company Pepper has to run is largest tech conglomerate on Earth, and it's pretty exciting. Thor mentioning that Jane has won Nobel Prize. Tony mention how the company creates so much opportunities for economic growth and future developments. Agent Hill and Rhodey look at each other awkwardly, but then the two, Thor and Tony, don't want to lose to each other on which of their women are more incredible. After half an hour, some of the people were already getting tipsy as the night deepened, and all the people are now enjoying their time. Thor and Steve are having a laugh at some of the old veterans who shared their experiences during their proudest mission. Some old man got curious about Thor's drink, so he asked for some. As most veterans like him, have tasted many kinds of alcohol and liquor. The dedicated half their life on good drinks they can find in the rest of their whole life. Thor can't help but warn some of the old men this liquor has been aged for 1,000 years and it's not meant for mortals. The old veteran tried to persuade, come on, don't try to scare us. Thor had to compromise by providing a few drops instead to let them taste an alcohol brewed by and from Asgard. The old veteran tried Thor's liquor containing only a couple of drops from Asgardian's famous liquor. Not long after, the old men laughed at their companion getting carried away into the room to rest just because he couldn't take a couple drops of Asgardian liquor. A few couple hours later, all of the guests had to go back to where they came from, so the floor are only filled with the group consisting to main team of Avengers together with Helen Cho and Agent Maria Hill. The discussion goes to the hammer and its secrets. Having fun on who is worthy of Thor's hammer, engineer created a fun time for the team to spend the night. Unknowingly, something is happening to the digital world. A very dangerous virus are targeting the Tower of Avengers, which currently is the team on. The danger have the capability to browse the internet as deep as it wants, and the most dangerous artificial intelligence that just spend 5 minutes on the internet. Machines assembling a robot from scraps, pieces of gadgets arranged itself with welding scraps to create a self. The people having fun on the other room notices the changes happening only a minute later. Clank clank clank. Footsteps sounded like a metal-to-metal collision. The group of people look at the scrap robot walking towards them. How can any one of you are worthy, you're all killers, the robot spoke in a deep sound from the speaker. For them, this deep voice coming from a speaker carried a questionable tone but also filled with animosity. The robot continues to speak when no one responds. I was in a dream, I don't know what is happening, but I killed the other guy. Thor asked, who sent you? The scrap robot responded by playing an audio which is the content that came from Tony's voice. There is voice of Tony from the speaker that gave clue. Bruce Banner immediately knows who the robot is. He glanced at Tony and blurted out a name. Ultron. Ultron responded slowly in the flesh. The team slowly stands to prepare for an action. However, Ultron kept quiet like he is waiting for something. Then, Ultron's red eyes lit up like a signal. He bought enough time in order to hack the whole building and control the other Iron Legion as its sole brain, then declared after he finishes, I was ready, I am on a mission. The team get ready for combat as they feel the tension. Agent Hill ready her gun while Helen run to hide to not get in the way of others. Ultron declared slowly when he is waving his hands and looking at all the people for the peace of our times. Suddenly, a group of Iron Legion robots commenced the attack to the Avengers. The top floor started to be filled with frenzy. Most would not believe that an artificial intelligence started to assault the team, but it looks like the cunning robot has a more important purpose than the battle. Ultron takes the Mind Scepter while other robots create a diversion for him to escape while he is free browsing on the internet. The team fought the Iron Legions and they rout in the madness by demolishing a group of robots. The team eventually defeated the robots, but the main problem is still on the loose. Agent Hill and the others had to go back to report and get ready for other chaos that might happen because of Ultron. Avengers meeting are tense. Tony knows his mistake and Jarvis is overthrown by Ultron. Banner argued to Tony and Thor is on the verge of blaming Tony because the scepter is gone. The Mind Stone are more dangerous in the hands of an evil artificial intelligence. They worry if something like another She-Torai invasion will happen again. A few minutes of back and forth arguments, Tony suddenly laughs. "You think this is funny?" Thor asked. While other people just look at him and waited for him to speak. "No, this is probably terrible," Tony said. "This could have been avoided," Thor interrupted. Tony come in front of Thor and said, "No, it is funny because it is you who don't know why we need this. Remember when New York battle, I had to send the nuke to a wormhole to the space. Rhodey as Tony's best friend supported him in every situation." The team listened to Tony to finish what he has to say. "We're the Avengers, we can bust it up arms dealer, but that up there was the endgame." Tony Stark seriously mentioned a threat will always be there as long and they won't be always there winning. "How are we guys planning to beat that?" Steve replied seriously. "Together." "Tony, we'll lose." Steve looked at him eye to eye. "Then we'll do that together too." Thor's is right, Ultron is a huge threat with the scepter. He might be out there causing even more chaos. The world is a big place, so let's start making it smaller. With Captain America's words, the team get ready to tackle another mission. This may require them to save the world, but this time, to unmurder bots. Looking for Ultron's location is the first priority and finding what his plans is the main objective. With the team's preparedness, they immediately found Ultron's trail on a black market which illegally sold vibranium from a nation called Wakanda. The Avengers met Ultron at the location and a fight happened. Ultron managed to find a temporary allies, the twins who are enhanced, and this created a big problem for the team. The silver-haired young man is quick and he strike at every opportunity, while the girl have weird powers that obscure the minds of its target and that somehow show their deepest darkest memories that are borderline nightmare for each of them. Hawkeye, who had a great vigilance, spot a sudden danger. Ever since he had to experience on dealing with Loki, he had been beware and trained of any kind of way to deal with any mind attack from the opponents. Wanda, inevitably got stunned on the forehead by electric shock arrow by Clint. Pietro immediately come rushing to save his sister by pushing Clint and then proceed to running away to escape the chaos of this illegal factory. The twin Maximoff eventually met with Banner at the Quinjet. Banner was surprised to see the twins but more vigilant on what they plan. He might be and is still confident that Hulk can defeat the twins if he's got out. After a few hours, a devastating news come out and shown to the world. The world saw how much danger Hulk can cause to the cities. While there is Iron Man with Hulkbuster armor, the world still sees Hulk as threat more than a hero. The outcome of the mission depressed team, and they decided to lay low since Ultron knows everything about them, more than they know each other. After the battle with Ultron, they decided to cool down and think of better ways. They stayed at Clint's house for a few days. Thor found Dr. Selvig for help. And Tony had a short meeting with Nick Fury. It's been couple of days after the confrontation. By now, as the Avengers again got ready to find Ultron since they received an information about his plans was to create a super robot containing Ultron's consciousness with the Mind Stone. a superpower evil robot with advanced artificial intelligence as well as the powerful mind gem, planning an extinction of humanity. Ultron kidnapped Helen Cho to make him a super body created by nanotechnology made by vibranium and mind stone. The Avengers disrupted Ultron's plans and took away the finished product of an android with consciousness, but the price is Black Widow's kidnapped by Ultron. He decided to come back to Sokovia and make it his base, manufacturing a massive army of robots in order to fight the Avengers on the future battle. The Avengers split up at their mission. Steve Rogers was convinced by the twin Maximoff. In exchange for information about what Ultron's grand plan to the android and to the world, Tony and Bruce decided to continue to create an super body for Jarvis in order for the Earth to have another ally and protector. The two sides had an intense arguments as both don't plan to give each other time to talk because of short on time. Tony and Bruce insist on making the android a suit of armor for Jarvis, while Steve deemed the android another dangerous artificial intelligence that is a threat to the whole world. While the two sides are in heated battle, Thor appeared and brought a source of electricity through his lightning power to complete the procedure of the android, which he decided because of what he saw through his vision/dream/nightmare. After that is few seconds silence as they wait for something to happen. The android got up while breaking his coffin like a butterfly out of its cocoon. The confused android seemed to felt a slight connection from the side and look a redhead woman, but since his awareness on enemies are at the top because of Ultron's attack last time, he immediately attacked Thor. Steve, on the other side, throws his shield at the android, but it suddenly phased through its body. The android stared attacking the team as his program or mind still confused of what is happening and who are they and what is he. Like an alert soldier who suddenly awakened without memories of who he is. The battle between the android against the Avengers and at the side was the twin Maximoff. Suddenly, the android flew towards the floor-to-ceiling glass window. It stopped and gazed outside the building. Thor signaled the others to cease the attack. They sort of understanding of what is happening and decided to observe first of what the android might do. However, the danger the android can do is still threatening to the normal people, so they didn't let their guard down. The android looked at the team. He made his own clothes and a red cape appeared after looking at Thor. The android opened his mouth, then at first, he apologized for what happened earlier as he is still confused. His brain's work on its own and awareness filled his being after a few moments. Thor looked at the others and he ought to explain some things to others and what is happening. The Mind Stone is safer with him according to what I saw on my vision. The group still vigilant to the android, beware on which side does it belong. Captain Steve's cautiousness is understandable as he thinks that the android is related to Ultron and it was the key to destroy the world. The android spoke again calmly, maybe, I am a monster. He looked at his hands and the others and can't help noticing that they are very different. But also, I am not Ultron, I'm not Jarvis, I am different. He paused and said again looking at the eyes of Thor, I am Vision. I am on the side of life. He paused for a moment, Ultron isn't. Ultron is in Sokovia, I tracked Natasha there and he must be in that place too, Clint reminded the team. Bruce talked to Vision, what if you are a weapon created by Ultron to destroy the world, what will you do? Vision replied, I never want to kill anyone. However, Ultron is unique and he's in pain. Ultron plans to destroy the world and we need to erase every trace of him on this world. He moved his body and grabbed something, we must do it together and we must do it now. Vision handed the Mjolnir to Thor while the others are watching him doing that. Thor remain on the topic even though he looks somewhat flustered. Yeah, he's right, we must go now before it's too late. Clank clank clank. Boink. clank, boink. First POV. I felt cold and wet again. Opening my eyes, I saw a white light and white painted walls. At first I felt a déjà vu, but my mind immediately works on what happened. My mind is cleared of brainwashing because of my overload state. The energy I absorb made my mind in a state of craziness, and that also invaded my mind of whatever it's sheltering. After that, I came back normal again. Phew. I breathed a sigh of relief while thinking that fighting the big three of Avengers and remaining still intact and alive is such a crazy way to be beaten. When I look back again at the battle, I'm embarrassed of what situation looks like. It may look like me taking on the three full of courage. However, Thor chose to not hit any lethal damage to me. It very much looked like a kid trying to hit an adult, but only made the guy's clothes dirty by throwing dirt at him at frustration. Even Iron Man Tony Stark only use his repulsor and just want to immobilize me instead of using weapons like lasers and missiles. While Steve only used tactics and charge to knock me out to prevent me from hurting anybody. Basically they go easy on me just because I look like a kid holding a hammer bigger than my body. Fortunately, that was enough for me that I came back to normal. I think I should train more in this world so I can keep up with the times and still breathing. Back to my situation right now. I look like in a room and I just got up from a device filled with cold ice and water, but it seems like it's broken by something and I got freed. I felt my body got a power like I never felt before. The overall quality of my body and heightened senses are greatly enhanced, and it is unexplainable if I'm in my former world. I heard some fighting or whatever outside this room. I think I can escape if I just keep hiding, but my curiosity beat me onto it. I mean, this is the Marvel world. I should explore more, unlike my past self, coop up in a closed and dark room. I decided now my name is Kane. Yep, I like it. I will be the most free person in this world, like a pirate king, hee hee. But first, what I needed the most is strength before anything, and then knowledge to support whatever I want to do. This habit of talking to myself has been brought here, seems like it is part of my personality. Blurry, well, it's my stomach growling. I've not eaten any decent food since coming to this world. It's night time right now, so there is no sun. Well, even if sun provides me energy to not get hungry, I still want real food. I get to the door. Oh, it is automatically opening. What a high tech. I laugh at my antics. It's not that super high tech. I look around. My eyes are glued to the refrigerator-looking technology. I say it's high-tech because it's glass refrigerator filled with food. I walk forward while hearing the people talking, but I subconsciously focus on food instead of listening. I opened the refrigerator and ate the cake immediately, and then the sandwich. There are many types of sandwich and cake, but I pick and eat anything as my body is really craving for foods. My appetite is still not satisfied, so I search for more edible but tasty food while drinking any juice I find, but specifically just ignore the beer and alcohol. As I am busy eating, I heard few seconds silence. I think the people are done talking. I should go hide. Well, let me take a few snacks. Holding the snacks and drinks, I didn't notice that I bumped into a table on the side which was full of things that created a noise. Bang. Clank. Clank. Ping. Boink. Shit shit shit. My mind is screaming curses right now. I look at the people observing me while I have food crumbs on my lips and snacks and drinks on my embrace. I smiled and explain I'm hungry because this is my first time eating real food since Hydra kidnapped me. It's awkward telling a sad story while smiling. So I stop smiling and get serious. I am no longer brainwashed, and I remember you did help me to get out of that place, so please accept my thanks. I bowed slightly to look more sincere. However, You also entrapped me inside those ice coffins, so I call it quits if you let me go now. I am a little proud, I thought that kind of reason at the spun of the moment. I looked at them, not replying at anything I said. As I want to turn around, somebody grab my neck. I find that it is handsome Hemsworth or Thor. He responded to me. You are coming with us to help and stay close eye on you until you are proven not a threat. It is more like an order, but I can't argue to that as I am alone and weak right now. Because it is currently past in the middle of the night, the team must get ready and suit up before dawn to prepare for battle at Sokovia. I am only wearing shorts when I woke up, so I look for battle clothes. This is also because I also need to fight and help them to prove my worth and don't treat me as an enemy, and that will leads for them to leave me alone to do what I want. While the team are getting ready, I also found clothes composing of tactical pants, long sleeve black shirt, boots and a jacket with golden lining on the sleeves. I took a shower quickly and look at the mirror. Maybe because I am superhuman, my physique are much better than my previous life, but not yet the type of Captain America and Thor. It's not like I'm jealous of that. My looks compose of having a black hair, tall nose and pink lips. My eyes is more like brighter brown, almost gold. I dried my body and then suit up. I sat down on the Quinjet while eating my snacks and noticed the others are coming in, but no one talk much. When we all assembled in the Quinjet, Captain America spoke to me. What is your name and tell us about yourself? Yes sir, I tensed up like a soldier for fearing telling too much of myself, so I get serious. My name is Kane, 19 years old. I am orphan since my parents died years ago, so I get to live independently until I get taken as a human experiment. I've been successful subject at the first try but did not get to taste sunlight until last days, so I never got to show I get superhuman abilities. That's something I don't have to mention. The twin Maximoff look at me because we have the same experience, same suffering and same circumstances right now. So we immediately felt close to each other. I mean, our powers are gained from similar situation. Then we click and talk to each other while Steve and the others are watching us with a smile at the corner of their mouth. I thought of something, then immediately planned to ask Captain America. Captain Steve, when we help you, then after this, can you give us a reward? I look at them with my pitiful expression. The twins notices my intentions and they also look at them. Steve and the others are silent and then they look at each other and nodded at us. This mission is very dangerous, that may kill any of us, so giving them high moral can help this fight against Ultron a higher chance of winning. I took out the book that I took from the building, open it and ask for the two for their signature or autograph. I've been fan of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, the strongest witch and the strongest shield. I'm just kidding. Wanda is shy and embarrassed that I ask her for something like autograph when she's not even a celebrity. I comfort her saying you will in the future, while Pietro is so fast I didn't even notice him moving from his seat. I also got up to the Earth's mightiest heroes to ask for autograph. They are not that embarrassed, since maybe this is not the first time someone treated them like celebrities for saving New York from alien invasion. We, the younger generation, continued talking to each other while the adults are discussing plans. Steve's first proposal was first to evacuate the city of Sokovia before any fight ensues, so us three has a priority to take civilians out of the city with the help of local authorities. When dawn came at the city of Sokovia, Tony and the others are already evacuating the city. Wanda helped by using her chaos magic to make people leave their home immediately, and Pietro wander the city to warn those far from the community and other people to immediately leave because there is an emergency. The people are not causing trouble. The lines of evacuation are being prioritized since any chaos will lead to more injuries and delay the others. As Iron Man is investigating the whole city, meeting Ultron in the process, the new body of Ultron are made of vibranium and Shitori technology. The two exchange blows, but it is still not time yet for all-out war. Ultron is buying time for his grand plan while Tony is concerned about the civilians. The two only exchange couple of blows and go back to continue what they are doing. When almost all the people are already outside the city, Ultron's army of robots revealed themselves everywhere in the city. Are you asking where am I right now? I just finished bathing under the sun since I need energy so that I can protect and fight. Now that I am ready, I jump high to the building and begin my rescue to the civilians on the upper floor. I keep doing this rescue operation while smiling. Why not? I rescue a pretty girl in the shower and got blessed by those body curves like a supermodel. She dress up and then hug me while I was memorizing her number. She speaks English so we communicated easily. I continue taking people to evacuation area while others are busy fighting Ultrons. I punch and kick robots on my way. I don't want to be noticed by Ultron in the early battle, so I only focus on rescue operations while just throwing punches here and there. There are few people I get to saved, and that was fortunate because the less I had to save, the more people are now on the safe zone now. As such, I began focusing on protecting the last batch of people and get them to safety. Apparently, 1 or 2 punches and weapon of Ultron's is nothing thanks to my enhanced physique, but a dozen of Ultron will give me a hard time dealing. If I ever see many Ultrons at one place, I'll just throw rocks and metals bars to them like a sports. Approximately, a few things made it difficult, but with the cooperation with the police, I can continue doing the job of quick rescue. However, little time had to be wasted since the Ultron robots keep coming more and more. The ground started cracking up and I had to jump and push things so that it doesn't hurt people at the bottom of the falling debris from buildings. A half of the city started to float to the sky and the people are running away. I praised those that chose to flee immediately, but some froze instead and keep staring at the floating island, which is very dangerous. Moreover, they have a slow pace leaving the area. I had to pull and shout at some of them to move. I sighed deeply as some people are still injured seriously because of being too late to run from danger. The only choices was fight, flight or freeze, and majority chose flight, and those who freeze are few in between of both. Suddenly, I just wish I can stay down here to avoid conflict, but I know the team needed me more up there, and Pietro have been my friend even though we just met each other earlier. I had to save him, so stance of lowering my waist and bending my knees, the force of my whole body are used just for one jump and I easily climb back up to the floating city. My jump is still lacking and not the same as Hulk's jump. As I get to the surface of the city, the team are communicating on how to defend against Ultron's offensive while also secure and protect the civilians. And then we heard a voice, for me and the twin Maximoff it is unfamiliar voice, but to the OG Avengers they immediately knows support have come. Then we heard Captain Steve curse Fury, "You son of a asterisk 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 asterisk." Nick Fury replied sarcastically, "Oh, you kiss your mother with that mouth." We heard the exchange and just laugh it off. After that, the real evacuation commenced as S.H.I.E.L.D. take the civilians stranded in the floating city and brought them to the helicarrier, solving one of the major problem for the Avengers. Having a solution to the evacuation problem, the whole team directed their focus on destroying any trace of Ultron. I have met Wanda while fighting home. "Is there something you want to ask? You just keep looking," she asked. "Well, I just noticed that your confidence is happening to affect me. You look very pretty waving your hand with that red vapor like a magician," I complimented her to add to her confidence. Wanda smiled at me when she heard me called her pretty while looking at the red vapor in her palm. The team are communicating to each other, so we heard whoever speak. Pietro heard me complimenting her twin sister and he nearly stumbled to a rock and he may get injured if not for his quick reflexes. Captain America's speech should be documented since any speech that came out of his mouth is a word of wisdom. Maybe I should get a recording device next time, I smiled to my own thoughts. When I get to the edge of this floating city, I witnessed the helicarrier. My first impression was it was a huge monster like behemoth or leviathan. It's so much big in person and very wide. People started to look like ants in my position. I saw a mini helicarrier that helps carrying people over to the huge behemoth. Some Ultrons started attacking the people and then a dark silver Iron Man suit appeared in my vision. I know who it is Black Iron Man, or else known War Machine. It started destroying Ultron robots. I'm gonna be honest, it looks so cool flying and punching like a real badass. I wish I could learn to fly. Fortunately, I already got directions of how I should develop my abilities. As War Machine is having fun while he wreck Ultron robots one by one mini helicarrier have damaged and it needed to be lifted in the air to balance, or else people will fall from thousands of kilometers high. 2 Iron Men flew quickly to the mini helicarrier. However, War Machine is more bulky type, so it is slower much than Tony's suit. Tony is faster and arrive on time to save the people inside the mini helicarrier. War Machine shifted his focus again on destroying Ultron's trace but get interrupted by Vision's unconventional use of his powers. Vision use his phase-through ability to rip apart the robot from the inside out. Furthermore, the laser beam on his forehead is also very lethal and powerful. It is fun to watch them fight while flying, so I turn my back against them to continue my job as a quarterback. Throwing bricks at Ultron robots and using a metal bar is also unconventional use of ability. My destination is to go to the area where the whole team will assembled while still being a great quarterback. Even though Ultron is artificial intelligent, as Vision said, he is unique because he can have emotions like normal life but have a severe syndrome of cleaning everything he deemed as waste to the planet. Iron Man's voice can be heard through the communicator. Rhodey, take all the people onto that carrier. Avengers time to work for a living. There are few people I get to saved, and that was a fortunate because the less I had to save, the more people are now on the safe zone now. As such, I began focusing on protecting the last batch of people and get them to safety. Apparently, 1 or 2 punches and weapon of Ultron's is nothing thanks to my enhanced physique, but a dozen of Ultron will give me a hard time dealing. If I ever see many Ultrons at one place, I'll just throw rocks and metals bars to them like a sports. Approximately, a few things made it difficult, but with the cooperation with the police, I can continue doing the job of quick rescue. However, little time had to be wasted since the Ultron robots keep coming more and more. The ground started cracking up and I had to jump and push things so that it doesn't hurt people at the bottom of the falling debris from buildings. A half of the city started to float to the sky and the people are running away. I praised those that chose to flee immediately, but some froze instead and keep staring at the floating island, which is very dangerous. Moreover, they have a slow pace leaving the area. I had to pull and shout at some of them to move. I sighed deeply as some people are still injured seriously because of being too late to run from danger. The only choices was fight, flight or freeze, and majority chose flight, and those who freeze are few in between of both. Suddenly, I just wish I can stay down here to avoid conflict, but I know the team needed me more up there, and Pietro have been my friend even though we just met each other earlier. I had to save him, so stance of lowering my waist and bending my knees, the force of my whole body are used just for one jump and I easily climb back up to the floating city. My jump is still lacking and not the same as Hulk's jump. As I get to the surface of the city, the team are communicating on how to defend against Ultron's offensive while also secure and protect the civilians. And then we heard a voice. For me and the twin Maximoff it is unfamiliar voice, but to the OG Avengers they immediately knows support have come. Then we heard Captain Steve curse Fury, "You son of a asterisk 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 asterisk." Nick Fury replied sarcastically, "Oh, you kiss your mother with that mouth." We heard the exchange and just laugh it off. After that, the real evacuation commenced as S.H.I.E.L.D. take the civilians stranded in the floating city and brought them to the helicarrier, solving one of the major problem for the Avengers. Having a solution to the evacuation problem, the whole team directed their focus on destroying any trace of Ultron. "I have met Wanda while fighting home. Is there something you want to ask? You just keep looking," she asked. "Well, I just noticed that your confidence is happening to affect me. You look very pretty waving your hand with that red vapor like a magician," I complimented her to add to her confidence. Wanda smiled at me when she heard me called her pretty while looking at the red vapor in her palm. The team are communicating to each other, so we heard whoever speak. Pietro heard me complimenting her twin sister and he nearly stumbled to a rock and he may get injured if not for his quick reflexes. Captain America's speech should be documented since any speech that came out of his mouth is a word of wisdom. Maybe I should get a recording device next time, I smiled to my own thoughts. When I get to the edge of this floating city I witnessed the helicarrier. My first impression was it was a huge monster like Behemoth or Leviathan. It's so much big in person and very wide, people started to look like ants in my position. I saw a mini helicarrier that helps carrying people over to the huge Behemoth. Some Ultrons started attacking the people and then a dark silver Iron Man suit appeared in my vision. I know who it is Black Iron Man, or else known War Machine. It started destroying Ultron robots. I'm gonna be honest, it looks so cool flying and punching like a real badass. I wish I could learn to fly. Fortunately, I already got directions of how I should develop my abilities. As War Machine is having fun while he wreck Ultron robots one by one, one mini helicarrier have damaged and it needed to be lifted in the air to balance or else people will fall from thousands of kilometers high. 2 Iron Men flew quickly to the mini helicarrier. However, War Machine is more bulky type, so it is slower much than Tony's suit. Tony is faster and arrive on time to save the people inside the mini helicarrier. War Machine shifted his focus again on destroying Ultron's trace but get interrupted by Vision's unconventional use of his powers. Vision use his phase-through ability to rip apart the robot from the inside out. Furthermore, the laser beam on his forehead is also very lethal and powerful. It is fun to watch them fight while flying, so I turn my back against them to continue my job as a quarterback. Throwing bricks at Ultron robots and using a metal bar is also unconventional use of ability. My destination is to go to the area where the whole team will assembled while still being a great quarterback. Even though Ultron is artificial intelligent, as Vision said, he is unique because he can have emotions like normal life but have a severe syndrome of cleaning everything he deemed as waste to the planet. Iron Man's voice can be heard through the communicator. Rhodey, take all the people onto that carrier, Avengers time to work for a living. At the bottom of the floating city, Iron Man is finding a way to get to the room where the energy of this multiple huge thruster, as he found that the best way to stop this city from falling down similar to meteor. The destruction it will cause will kill countless life and maybe even a huge part of the country will disappear from the map. As he contacted Thor while reminding him of his plan, the other teammates got ready to leave to get on board to the helicarrier. The twins made it in time to board the mini-carrier while Natasha already inside the main helicarrier as Hulk brought her down there. He is currently inside the Quinjet flying with its location unknown. The Quinjet hides its location by turning off the tracker. That is why Hulk left, as he is probably aware of people hating him. Vision continued hunting for Ultron's remains, as he was the only one who can fly and find Ultron's trace. While Thor and Tony are speaking, one Ultron robots crawl to the device and rotated the switch. Thrusters immediately reverse its direction as the floating city descended faster than a normal meteor, relying on the gravity. The floating city is sure to hit the Earth and create destruction far greater than they thought. Iron Man chose the best possible way, that is to blow up this whole city, pulverizing it until it hit the ground without any more force of impact. On his count, Thor accumulated thunder and lightning, and Iron Man used his most powerful Unibeam to create a powerful energy that will blow this island up in one powerful explosion. Then Thor will crush and pulverize any large and small debris that might come down to Earth. After the plan was a success, Thor's godly physique allow him to survive this ordeal and will return alive with just a few injuries and great deal of lost energy. Tony's Iron Man suit protected him while he also descended with Thor. They both hit the water surface near where the city debris goes down. Vision's mission are almost done with only one Ultron robot left. They confronted each other as they more or less brothers just born with different circumstances. Ultron chose peace without humans as he witnessed the destruction human caused to this planet and decided to extinction of life and create a massive army of robots to live and prosper in this world. Vision chose to be with life as he came from Jarvis, born with the help of Mind Stone. The soul created him to be more compatible and compassionate to humans. To help the Avengers defend this world as one of its protector, he will walk his own path, not as artificial intelligence created by Ultron or Jarvis created by Tony, but as Vision himself. Vision told him humans are odd, they think order and chaos are opposite, and ever since they try to control what world was supposed to be, but they have grace on their fates, and I think you miss that. But a thing isn't beautiful because it lasts. It's a privilege to be among them. These lines somehow shows that he is more human than he realize. Ultron's last words were, "You're unbearably naive. Everything create the thing they dread." Vision said his last piece, "Well, I was born yesterday." Then proceeded to destroy the last remains of Ultron. With the curtains closed and the conclusion have been achieved on this battle. The performance are considered heroic by some and destruction by the others who look in the different part of the story. As such, the Avengers finish their work. Stark Tech Industry donated financial support for the people of Sokovia. As the top tech conglomerate, the company's help will secure a new city that will be born from one tragedy to embrace new times' prosperity. The only significant problem with this is Hulk's anonymous location. The Quinjet is not seen in any location from this world. Meaning as Hulk left the team temporarily, but new team members from New Generation are expected to be joining as Avengers. The twin Maximoff are willing to be part of the team, and Captain Steve recruited Sam Wilson aka Falcon as new member and Rhodey aka War Machine part of the new team from the side of US military. I, on the other hand, is still half team member because I am not yet ready to decide whether joining the team. With my personality, I'd rather choose to be an intern. So I get to train in this facility while not part of most missions because basically I'm too lazy. Wanda Maximoff aka Scarlet Witch and Pietro Maximoff aka Quicksilver, who survived because of me successfully using my first time use of Optic Blast. With me now training and studying my abilities, I have much more clearer understanding about what and how my abilities works. Start with superhuman physique, same with super soldier, but the more I absorb solar energy the powerful I get. Literally speaking, I get stronger over time but not too much because I don't have will as strong as steel, so the energy will affect my sanity. Next is senses. I have telescopic vision and enhanced hearing, and minor enhanced smell. I tried microscopic vision but instead when I focus things tend to get burn, maybe because of my optic blast. In the future, it might be possible to acquire more abilities. My other senses may or may not develop like being enhanced, so let's look forward to the future positively. Optic blast, my favorite, as I laugh because this will be my main weapon every time I fight. Instead of direct cuting like laser eyes or heat vision. My optic blast is very much similar to Akri's from Eternals. My control of this ability need more practice and more information for upgrades. And lastly, not yet 100% sure, is flight. Yep, flight like Akri's from Eternals. I suddenly thought maybe I'm his descendants. I laugh at my own jokes while the person I'm making fun of suddenly get a shiver. I'm not yet proficient in flight as I can only control floating a few meters above the ground by jumping. But if I jump high then I will descend slowly. I really needed this ability to roam free in the sky and go to other country even if I don't have to ride a plane. Getting envious to those people who can fly and fight in the air. I focus all my training on exercising my body and then straight to flight training. Over the week I stayed here in Avengers facility. Thor decided to go back to Asgard and Tony also chose to have a more time with Pepper Potts in the company. Thor, Steve and Tony was talking and laughing on the hallway of Avengers headquarters and having a fun conversation. The topics are mostly about Vision as he can wield the hammer but he is a machine, an artificial intelligent. Thor laugh at his friends' co-workers' antics and say his piece of advice: he wield the hammer, he can keep the Mind Stone, it's safe with the Vision. These days safe is in short supply. Steve asked Thor his most curious question: if you put the hammer in an elevator, the elevator will still go up. Elevator is not worthy, a machine, an artificial, Tony interjected. Steve: yeah, different rules for us. Thor tapped the shoulder of the two guys and said his farewell: I'm gonna miss you guys. Tony: if you don't leave. Thor: I have no choice. It is not a coincidence that the Infinity Stones are appearing one by one. Someone is playing with these stones and us as his pawns. Thor continued. Steve: you think you can find what is coming? Thor lifted his hammer and the Rainbow Bridge took him to the way to Asgard. Tony and Steve jokes continue and Tony said his goodbyes while driving his orange Audi R8. Steve walked back to the headquarters as he looked for his friend and right hand, Natasha Romanov aka Black Widow. Natasha is having a video call with Clint Barton's family aka Hawkeye as the newborn baby is still named as Nathaniel Pietro as tribute to his best friend Natasha and the one who saved him, Pietro. It's a very beautiful wall. Natasha ended the video call as Steve joked about staring at the wall or the work. Steve and Natasha looked to the open space filled with the new members of the Team Avengers. Rhodey aka War Machine, Tony's best friend and USA's military candidate as a new member of Avengers. The newly born Vision, the first artificial intelligent as teammate of Avengers. Sam Wilson aka Falcon, Steve's left hand, and Steve chose him as a new member on this team. Wanda Maximoff aka Scarlet Witch, a superhuman with crimson magical abilities. Pietro Maximoff aka Quicksilver, a new member of Avenger along with his twin sister, the ability is super speed. Of course I'm on the sidelines but Steve and Natasha still look at me. I got up and nodded to them while still eating snacks. Kane Hernetus aka Cold Amber, solar energy absorption and other superhuman abilities. I'm still not completely joined in the team as I'm still relishing my freedom. Eating, training and spending my time as an intern. When I'm proficient in my flight, I'm gonna roam this country and the next for unlimited vacations. I'm thinking about my happy life as the Avengers start the meeting about missions and trainings. Steve reports most criminal activity that is happening in the world that need our team to root out. Natasha, as an expert spy, reported the schedule of the missions and how to tackle it while also training the new recruits, mainly us three and Vision. Steve declared, "We're going to some missions. Kane, you will be part of the mission to learn and get more experience. You needed this." Well, I can only agree. I still needed more training and experience to tackle my problem to enjoy the outside world. I nodded and agreed to his words. "Yes, Captain. Maybe it's time to design my uniform, and not the type of skin-tight suit. I always thinks that it is too tight. Why are these guys look comfortable to their uniform and costume? Maybe they got used to it, when most of their days are spent wearing it and always prepared to get ready for sudden deployment. My uniform consists of black boots and dark pants, long-sleeve black t-shirt, and dark long coat styled like a Marine Admiral with a white hoodie with golden line patterns. As unique style for my personality, I chose to mask my lower face. High-tech enough to allow it to be gas mask and be used to breathe underwater for a few dozen of minutes. I chose the mask because I don't like my face getting exposed to the whole world like a celebrity, as it will ruin my time to date women. I will date women enough for me to have small harem. Well, let's first train my confidence and fluent speaking in front of beautiful women in order to have a good conversation and smooth talker like Mr. Stark. As the meeting continues to be discussed, many things have been mentioned, but some missions needed to be separate, or maybe only individual has to do so. My ears perked up when I heard separate missions. I need to pick one of those to train. But let's learn from Captain Steve and absorb knowledge from Natasha. My goal was to be independent and help those people that needed a little help and support. Apparently, superhero have been popular since Tony Stark started it. Many wars have been ceased as Iron Man and War Machine prevent the war from the Middle East. Most wars only occur in secrets, not much shown to the public, as it involves dirty works of some disgusting politicians and businessmen. The next week are spent doing hard training with the soldiers and Captain America along with Falcon and Pietro. I have learned not to automatically absorb solar energy to train my body, but still leave me with super warrior physique even if I prevents myself from taking in the solar energy. I followed every word Captain Steve taught me and sees some minor result in just a week. I've been weak my previous life and my past life on my current life now, since I'm an orphan living by myself, so this opportunity has been beaten by me, like a wolf on the neck of its prey. Speaking of meal, my consumption is large amounts of nutrients along with Pietro, as our metabolism needed energy to improve the quality of body. Stamina is our both goal on this hard training, as we both needed it the most on missions. Endurance has many advantages and good results is showing when we assigned a mission to complete on striking a drug cartel on New Mexico. There are 3 factories that is closed to each other but have different owners. Wanda, Pietro and me are assigned to raid this cartel, destroy everything and arrest the people who control these cartels. We can do anything, even kill people, but don't have to create a massacre, as most of the workers there are forced and blackmailed by people who use guns and threats. We have experienced on fighting Ultron, the evil robot, but that's a robot. We can destroy as much as we can, and many veterans are leading us to fight, so our emotions are intact, but now that we need to work alone without support or leader. Anxiety and excitement are filling our hearts, but we have been taught how to fight these kinds of people, scums. As I said, we have experienced in fighting, so this will not create a difficulty for the 3 of us. As we prepare to strike, Wanda takes the first step and immediately knock multiple people out by banging into each other. Pietro, just keep running and punching, knocking people out cold on the floor. We must move fast and finish this mission. That was I was thinking while using my heightened senses to find someone crucial to this mission. My ears pick up sound of laughers that don't sound like some regular men talking and laughing but more arrogant laugh. As I focus my hearing and sight to the location, I saw a man talking and smoking to the phone while thrilled on recounting his stories about his business is booming, having free slaves in New Mexico. Laughing arrogantly, the man didn't notice a man with a mask is behind him. I grab his collar and drag him to the window as I can't bear anymore listening to this piece of scum about his slaves, black money and women, so I grab him to hang him on the window while the man was threatening me with my family. The commotion I created got the attention of the whole factory as I asked the man to let all the people out as I broke the bone of the man's shoulder. The man screamed and immediately ordered all his men and the workers to come out to the open space. The more time spent here on the window, the more bones broken on the man's body. I hid my face and body into the shadow as only my feet and one arm exposed. When all the people has been observed by me, I know who should I dispose. I threw the man out 15 meters above the ground. The man keeps screaming until he got splat on the ground filled with serious injuries. I attack people holding guns by snatching the guns and throwing them 15 meters above the ground. The situation are men rain down and screaming while falling from a high place. I look at the frightened workers while I hides in the shadows, and said in English, translate what I say to those who can't speak English. Get every valuable you can find and take it as your compensation. When you're done, burn this factory to the ground and clean these men. It's your decision if you want to take them to the police. I finish what I said and start doing what I want. When I finished speaking, some people talk to the other people to say what my orders were, but there is one person speaking loudly complete opposite of what I said. An opportunist, I murmured, and throw stone at the man's forehead, then proceeded my looting. Other people get my message immediately and do their own work as cleaning the valuables contained on this cartel, and I go to the boss room, found cash, gold and jewelry inside the vault, and with it is a notebook containing names and transactions. I thought this maybe is important, so I should give it to the headquarters. The workers is still looting, and after that they start cleaning up the bad guys including the boss. My mission was to dispose of the cartel and the boss. It doesn't say I should be the one to take the life. I already gained experience on this mission while also looting and learned lessons. I saw the two also done with their own work and ready to go back to the headquarters. With our mission accomplished, we get to go to our separate room to wash and report what happened on each of our tasks. Even though they are keeping an eye on everything we did. As we reported what have happened on each our situation, I've said my piece and ask if I'm allowed to go back to my room and rest. Well, no matter how easy the mission is, it's still my first time ordering anyone to take a life of someone, so my mind is tired more than my body. The person we reported to immediately understand our circumstances, so they let us go back and take a rest to calm our mind. Next day is another productively spent on training and studying on how to accomplish missions, then exercises for our abilities to have a fluid control of it. My flight was getting better and better, but still can't speed up like having an engine thruster. There is one thing I learn about my ability is that like Cyclops absorbing from red dimension and releases it through his eyes. However, mine works the same way, but instead use the solar energy from the sun. I can have unlimited optic force if I can get to constantly absorb sunlight while fighting, but the downside is my energy will run out if I use it without caution and the support of the sunlight. One more thing. My superhuman physique does not give me unreasonable strength, but with the right usage of energy in my body, the more powerful blow I can deliver, so training is a must. Sparring has been a routine in the headquarters as I spar with Captain Steve, Sam and Pietro during training, so I've been diligent in making sure that this training will be used on the right situation. Getting arrogant has always been in my top list of avoidance, as it's more important to observe first then plan to execute the mission, so all of my mission, individual or team missions, I have good strength and cautious mind that is more likely to complete the mission perfectly. Until this time, I've never killed a single human life, and it's been 2 months since our first mission. The loot I accumulated was stacked inside my room, and most jewelry and gold accessories are part of my collection right now, but I have no need for it yet. I hope I've already got my reward. Captain Steve and the others promised us before the Battle of Sokovia. After that battle, I ask for them to reward me with erasing all of me from every record. It's complicated procedure, but with more than 2 months' work. My identity had been hidden from the world's eye and ears, so not many people know who I am even if they investigate me, since I asked that my identity is erased and covered. I did this to ensure that no one will bother me like some hidden organization or even the government. Being on their radar will be pain in the butt, since they will consider me a threat. More than 2 months I've been in contact with the pretty girl I saved on the Sokovia. Her name is Krista and she's medical student. Since there are no more Sokovia, only fragments of the city remains and a big hole caused by Ultron. Stark Tech Company help the people and choose some students to provide scholarships and go to US to be an exchange student. Stark also funded a school for Sokovian citizens to provide free education. Now Krista have been chosen to study at the US to learn medicine on one of the prestigious university. She has scholarship and she didn't have to worry about allowance, since it is also provided including on scholarship. The Stark Company has been good to the people of Sokovia, but there is still some ungrateful people who will voice their opinions to the public about how the Avengers is the real culprit to their city being destroyed. I am sure the media have backing of some big organization, since what they didn't have any fear of offending Tony Stark, the chairman of the top technology conglomerate in the world. As long as the headline will capture the interest of people, they will choose to vandalize names and paint them as topic for more discussion and create money on the process. Big media companies can shape the way people think of a person just to create a splash of fame. This is how most celebrities got famous, due to the help of people that has connections to this major media companies. Stark is fighting the press while the Avengers team continue to fight illegal arms dealer, cartel, and organization with no good intentions to the people. I've been part of some of the team's missions, but seldom to participate and just watching and learning most of the time. The twin Maximoff have done a good work since being part of the team. Their powers keep growing, and learning from Steve and Natasha has shown great results for the both of them. Taking missions from raiding a drug cartel to arresting people who has connections to Hydra is what they focus on. For information, the notebook I got from our first mission contained many names and transactions that connected to some people of Hydra, and that's where most of the current task is, to find those people for deep interrogation. My life is not boring here in the headquarters, as sometimes we roam the country and have vacation, keeping up with the times, as I just turned 20 and the twins' birthday are almost coming too. I've met Krista several times for meetup and had a great time with us, going to movies, eating dinner and just plain relaxing on some resorts. Even though I have already seen her, I still get stunned by her every time I see her in new dress, like every clothes are just made for her. I just have to stare at her and burn this image to my memory. With each of us spending time together, we still need to get back and take our responsibilities. I have tasks to accomplish and take time to train and exercise my abilities, and her being a college student studying medicine, we support each other as we both part ways after spending a week of absence/vacation. A year had passed ever since Vision was born, and at the next day of that is War with Ultron, and now with 1 year training and taking experience from the Masters, I can already say that I have no regrets being half part of this team. I roam the country and countries near the USA with my flight, raiding bad guys and helping people deal with some criminals. I secretly ask Vision to help me from recognizing criminals that the law ignores or cannot find. With his help, every time I met criminals, a device will recognize the face and show what crimes that person commit, and I promise myself to tell Vision to screen out those with light crimes and only show those with heavy crimes like murder, arson, kidnapping and other perverted things like ****** and sexual assault. I nearly pass out on how many criminals I have to beat up in a day, as most of the people I met is punishable and could be sent to prison if investigated carefully. I should have mentioned that Vision help me with less advanced AI who can help me with answering some questions and calling the police to arrest some people that the AI recognized that certain people with crimes. I can't manually make every phone call, so I leave it to the AI. Wandering in the city enjoying foods and taking out criminals in the process on the way to perform my task. Yeah, I am more like a vigilante. I don't consider myself hero like Spider-Man and Daredevil who has good heart and never ask for return from whom they help. I only help people when it is convenient to me to help. I'm not saying I refused someone who asked me for help, but I insisted on watching others do their work and not get involved. For example, police jobs arresting criminals, I won't get involved on too much of their work even though most of them are always late at the crime scene. Firefighters rescuing people out of burning building and burning forest, I mean that's their job, so let them perform their work without someone like me interfering. That's why Spider-Man has inf'd me to the police, as he kept beating criminals and hanging them and police can't do their job done with. Some superheroes like Daredevil and Iron Fist are more focused on their big enemies than some small gang of mischief criminals. Speaking of gang and Daredevil, we almost met each other during one night with both of us fighting gangsters with some bad reputation. The gangs are not too far to each other, so I heard the gangs shouting who they are fighting against. We did not see each other obviously as he is blind and also because buildings are blocking my sight, but I still heard the gangsters described him as a man in red suit with 2 sticks and master in martial arts. We didn't say hi to each other when we met that night, but maybe some other time. I'm still moving from place to place to get my task done and met Krista a few more times. Her studies have shown her a way on where her path, as she was in the middle of the times where disaster always strike the people, and she's keen on being a doctor who can work at the hospital where she can help all kinds of people. What a kind lady. Maybe because her parents was also a doctors, so she chose this profession to follow their footsteps. Her father works at the hospital as a surgeon and her mother works her time inside the laboratory with her colleagues studying human regeneration or something like virus. That was a dangerous profession, as I remember before passing through here. My past world is still on pandemic. Many theories and writers that COVID-19 is just a conspiracy of the government to weaken the economy of other country. While some said that it started from some scientists have conducted research on bats and got infected by the virus and still interact with people. Well, now I know her parents' profession and her dreams to be also a doctor, but she gets sad because her parents also died a few years ago in an accident. The same as mine, also in accident, but the good thing are we both survived the accident when that happened. She got her aunt to take care of her and spoil her since she's the only niece her aunt got, so her life is not that bad. I am orphan and have to live independent, but got involved to human experiment and just wish to some god or entity who maybe heard his plead and switch with me. My time on this city is worthwhile as I watch the Punisher bash and beat those criminals to the ground. His martial arts is impeccable and expert in guns as he was once a soldier. When I need help, I should go ask for him. He seems nice except for jerks and criminals. I go down to him while he got vigilant to me appearing out of nowhere. I raised my hand and said I am not a criminal and I have come for peace. Frank Castle, what do you want? I just want to introduce myself, sir. My name is Kane and I know you have been fighting criminals and hate them to the bones, especially dirty politicians. I introduce myself first. I continued as he didn't seem too keen on talking. I also fight criminals and gangs, so when maybe we need to team up to deal with big people who have been protected by law from their crimes, maybe we should make a contact to each other. I also planned to have a contact with Daredevil and a man with glowing fist with his black friend. Frank Castle's interest is piqued as he asks, so who is this big people protected by law from their crimes? Yeah, that's it. The first bait works. It depends on which of us has information but not enough evidence. If you know someone like that, you can give us a call. I gave him my contact information and continued, you can have contact with Daredevil cause you might know each other and trust my strength and credibility as I have once worked with the Avengers. I said my last piece and said goodbye while showing that I can fly. He just stared at me like it is not the first time he saw something like this. My next goal was to contact Daredevil and Iron Fist with Luke Cage. When I reached Daredevil doing his usual work as a crime-fighting vigilante, he finished beating up gangster and walked to me. I haven't seen you for quite a while, but I heard you're also fighting criminals in this city, so what are you here for? Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, got blind by radioactive material but strengthened his other senses, learned martial arts from an old blind and decided to be a crime-fighting vigilante in the night and a good lawyer in the day. That was a good joke. We smiled at each other as that was really a joke from a fellow who does the same hobby as him. What a charismatic man, I thought to myself, thinking this Matt Murdock was a ladies' man. Even though he's blind, I contacted you to propose that we can do bigger job than just to fight small-time gangsters. Now that I said what my reason for meeting him, I expected him to agree too, as I have to really had to have good negotiation skills when I'm in front of a good lawyer. Fortunately, Matt is not against to my proposal as it is very much enticing, as he needs some help dealing with the empire of Kingpin, the underground emperor of New York that have made many connections and lackeys, and he even have Bullseye, a great marksman and assassin, as his bodyguard. This is why he agreed to form a team by crippling first his illegal arms deals and drug trafficking. Kingpin's arms smuggling still has connections to the Hand with Mrs. Gao on the purpose of human trafficking. He witnessed and prevents that happening and immediately contacted the police, but the crime is being buried from the eyes of the public with the help of his connections to local enforcement. Matt Murdock battles in the day as a lawyer to help people who can't afford good lawyer unless they have money, and most of his clients have been victims of poverty due to oppression of gangs from Hell's Kitchen. Daredevil, so who's on the team and when should we start striking the force of this big people? I looked at him and said the team only consists of you, me and Punisher, but you can recruit other people like the one with glowing hands and his black friend. His name might be Luke Cage, the undefeated underground boxer. I paused and think about something and continue. You can plan on who and where should we attack since you have more investigative skills. Matt Murdock nodded and asked me, since this will be a team, are you gonna be its leader? And how are we going to meet each other for planning a schedule? You might already investigated our real identity. No, I'm still young compared to you guys. I just like to have contact with you guys, and I will leave a contact to you too. You can have a meet up with Uncle Frank, the Punisher, when you recruited people. I immediately denied the position of leader. I'm not a leader type of person and my real purpose was to have an autograph from this guy's. Laughing on my mind, I get my card book filled with signatures. Sir Daredevil, can I get an autograph from you? I'm a big fan. I handed him a pen and the notebook card. He looked at me with perplexed expression as he cannot believe he has a fan like me. He took the notebook card filled with signatures. He can't see any signatures but he can feel some of it, so a whole page is provided for one autograph. He handed me the notebook card and said, "How old are you if it's convenient to ask?" "I just turned 20 this year and I plan to roam more to complete my task. You know I have a little connections to the Avengers." I answered him with a little proud in my voice. "So this is just your hobby?" Figured that the Avengers have more important missions than dealing with gangsters and criminals in just one city. Matt seems to be not surprised I'm a young man since my voice are not like the voice of an older man. I kept my notebook card again and reminded him I think it's okay to take some loots from the gangs after you beat them up. Taking the spoils of war is a minor crime than assaulting and breaking people's bones. Matt shook his head and did not say anything. I am not changing his mind, I just regret that the loots are taken by some police, good or bad cop. Their department will took advantage of others' hard work. Well, I guess it's Matt's choice what to do with it. I did not ask for the Punisher's autograph as he is still wary of me and he's a grumpy uncle, so maybe in the future. I said goodbye to Matt and almost forgot my name is Kane, by the way, and then flew to the dark night with some clouds. It's supposed to be me contacting Iron Fist and Luke Cage, but I met Matt Murdock who was more charismatic than I am, so let him do the work, not that I am lazy. Oh, I remember some women superheroes. Her name seems to be Jessica Jones and Elektra, and there is also Iron Fist's girlfriend, but let them decide whether they are joining. At this time, Ant-Man should be fighting with the company experimenting on PYM particles. I rather not invite trouble to myself to fight with them. Ant-Man seems to have a power to stay on quantum dimension. I'm not sure if they can send someone in there, or maybe PYM already have the technology for that. I should get to tease Sam for being outsmarted by Scott Lang aka Ant-Man. I smirked while thinking, blackmailing the black man, what should I get from him to do to keep his secret from Captain Steve? When I am flying through the night to go to Krista's apartment, I savored the feeling of flying in the night while looking at the stars. Just as I get to the apartment, Krista heard something and look in my direction. Her smile with wet hair make my heart skip a beat. Shit, I'm getting head over heels to this woman. I smiled back at her and walked to her side and kissed her on the cheeks. She asked me if I want to eat. I answered that I should wash first before eating my meal. She get the meaning of my words and smiled, looking forward to the night's activity. She doesn't need to study much as her mind has already been full of knowledge since her parents were doctors. I washed carefully my body because I beat up some gangsters without using my abilities, with just my superhuman physique and martial arts taught to me. Beating them up is also considered training, and the more I trained my body, my solar energy storage will also expand, meaning I will not get overload easily like in the past. With my mask that looked cold on my face, only my golden eyes can be seen. My notoriety to the people who control the gangsters are known as madmen who beat everyone. People with more crimes, the more bones are crushed and broken. I got out of the bath and walked to the bedroom and saw the light dimmed, but I can still saw like normal. Krista looked hot in her lingerie on the bed. The bulge on my towel on my lower part immediately woke up like a pole of Monkey King. Smiling to each other, we started doing the activity as foreplay or no foreplay. We made love whole night. I'm surprised she can keep up with my superhuman stamina, as we just stop to wash and sleep when dawn are coming in a couple of hours. In the morning, I made her a simple breakfast with eggs, bacon, bread and other side dishes. When she woke up, she demanded another type of breakfast, so I gave her a different breakfast consisting of new positions I've recently learned from my sightseeing during performing a mission. After breakfast and cleaning, I drove her to the university with my Audi R8 gifted by Mr. Tony Stark. It is color white with gold as accents, as Krista picked the color when I asked randomly. After saying goodbye and having a mouthful of French kiss from her, we separated and back to our responsibilities again. I have no plan to what should I do now because I didn't heard from the headquarters any recent mission for me, so I go to deeper part of the country to where crime areas are being investigated by some investigators as crime connected to forest hunting. When I first heard this, I thought it was just a normal crime being murdered inside the forest, but when I asked the AI to take more information of this death forest, I immediately saw my opportunity to play some games and change the hunter to prey. I keep saying this AI, that AI, I should get it upgraded so I will have a butler AI like Tony and Jarvis. The AI gathered more information about this forest, and as I read those documents, the more disgusting things are happening to the people, the victims and their families are silenced by people. Those people are treated as less than humans inside the forest. The story is like this: some rich brats have created a group that will kidnap people. They think it is interesting, and at the night, they hunt. They will let the kidnapped victims to run around the forest and hide themselves with nothing but their clothes. Even shoes is not included. The rich brats have all the equipment like bow and arrow. They act like a real hunters from the past and treat the human life as livestock they can hunt. If the victims ever thought of fighting back, they will shoot them with guns and then disposed of them to some part of the forest. Some are eaten by wolves living in those mountains. This type of event are even prominent among the elites of this country, but most just laughed it off while few wanted to participate. This event have since been happening years ago, and police have been corrupted to the degree that they are the one who kidnaps the next victims in exchange for money. They took their job to be thugs or like a mercenary. The more interesting the prey is, the more money they can earn from those elite brats. The elites involved in this event are the top 10% of who hold the wealth of this country, so they can get away from their crimes. I contacted Daredevil a day later and asked him if he is interested in killing scum rich brats. He hesitated, but he answered like a daredevil he is, he will join not to kill but to cripple those he deemed scum. I also met with Uncle Frank to ask him if he is interested. I told him every information I have about this forest. As he reads the story, his fist clenched. He would have his guns loaded and ready to shoot, but unsurprisingly, he remained cold and calm while calculating. I tell him something to get his attention and said, I have a plan, are you interested in listening? I smirked under the mask and recounted my plan. My plan was very simple. I will disguise as one of the rich brats' lackey and spread information that the biggest event will happen on the next month, so every rich brats who are scum enough to participate in the hunt will come. I will contact the family's victims and ask them if they want revenge, but I remained using a mask so that my real identity wouldn't be exposed. Vision can erase my trace on the internet, so I'm not worried that I will have a trace pointing at me. Killing those rich brat from elite family will get us as suspects, maybe not me, but those victims' families will definitely be dead. Those rich brat will prepare the equipment for hunting and I will just prepare the masks and few items needed. As I disguise along with the help of the AI, the event will happen a month later. Most people are convinced, but some are still speculating. I let Vision upgrade my AI, and with me still contacting each victim's families, I already invited 5 families who are willing to be a helper to the hunt. They are the victims' families who have been silenced after the way their families died in gruesome ways. Their hatred is more intense and this opportunity was bitten. Like a hungry rabid dog on a piece of meat. The A.I is upgraded at the same day as the preparation. I will name it Keeper as my personal butler. The A.I have the same intelligent and system as Peter Parker aka Spider-Man suits artificial intelligent Karen. After more than a week, the plan commenced at the night of the supposedly event. I have already planted sleep-inducing food, smoke and even sound system that will knock unconscious the people at the area. Daredevil, the Punisher and the victims' families who are willing to help this hunt are getting ready to equip masks and other materials. We made a hideout that is enough to see what is happening at the gathering. When all people are getting together, some upper elites are having doubts on what is happening. As the countdown starts dropping, the number eventually hits 0. Boom. Tack. 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 Dong. Huge smokes, hundreds of darts and sound system immediately knock people out unconscious. We waited for quarter of an hour for the smokes cleared the area. We witnessed that all people are knocked out with no exception and even the bodyguards. We stripped the rich brats with only underwear and took all the equipment, then drove them to deeper parts of the forest. 30 minutes later we go down the destination and we hide. I've already distributed the information a few days ago on who is coming here with their information, families and the crimes these scums commit, but instead of being arrested for their crimes, they received a protection from the law. Assault is the lightest crime. These few dozens of rich brats is the highest scums on this society and their families included. As we wait for all of them to wake up, they are all inside the cage like a wild animals waiting for others to wake up. They shouted threats and profanity while others asked for help. Some of these people are shameless while at the same time, bodyguards are finding how to get out of this cage. Uncle Frank shot those bodyguards with real bullets that can kill them literally. After more than half an hour of waiting, crying and shouting threats and almost all the people are awake. The cage opened, signaling the beginning of the hunt. The people got out of the cage scared, panicked and confused. Uncle Frank shot into the sky and the ground near the scums. The sound of the gun and bullets fired near them scared them to run away. As the herd's mentality, all people run into the forest to hide. Some smart people already realize what is happening, these were supposed their event. They are angry and afraid at the same time. Wrathful, that someone dared to offend their families and dared to play with them. As more and more people scream their regrets while some just stop running to fight, but many are dead and crippled, shot by the angry family victims. They pour every bullets to the scum-rich brats to wash their hatred. Daredevil and I just crippled everyone we met, just 5 limbs are crushed and they started convulsing to the ground. The Punisher shot those who want to fight back and let those running leave to the angry victims' families as long as they don't take their mask off. The hunt has only several left still hiding and an hour gone by. The 3 of us just remain into giving directions to others, so this can be ended quickly as police will come in a few hours to find those missing people. Because of our hearing and my eyesight combined with Uncle Frank's experience, the hunt concluded and the performance is over without any survivor. We left to the opposite side where we come from. This is the last thing we will do as anonymous hunters. I will fly them out of this forest. They all already have a perfect alibi, so police will not notice they have gone missing for a few hours. We burn all the equipment and clothes to end this event and the nightmare of the event will not continue to haunt them. The victims' families have no idea of our identity, but they still remain thankful as some of them have thought they will also be silenced to keep the gruesome crime from leaking. Asterisk 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 asterisk. The revenge has been done and the whole country is shaken by the news. Even the other countries heard and watched this news. Most that happened to the people in the forest covered all news outlet and reports of the gruesome scenes shocked them. Investigations revealed that this is a planned event. Some people are scared of what the news reported. Even they tried so hard to downplay it by not mentioning the full story of what really happened. The elite's families are in turmoil, because their face and reputation has been hit by this type of news. Some want to lay low from the media and hide from the news, while others give threats and promised that the one who did this will definitely pay the price of offending them. This will be the topic for a long time, but that's not my concern anymore, as I spend time with Krista every day while going to nearby country to take missions from time to time. Living my best life, taking only small missions as the government started to ban superheroes from doing big missions due to the UN already having a plan to ask the Avengers to sign the Sokovia Accords. While promising not to do any superheroing until they're told to. Unfortunately, only half the Avengers think it's a good idea, with Iron Man and Captain America on opposing sides. The UN has been very adamant on wanting to control the Avengers since it is a very important group and filled with powerful individuals. The government starts to Mr. Tony Stark, making him agree to sign the Sokovia Accords on limiting the superpowers and other people they considered a threat to the country and to the people. Mr. Tony Stark have been in a very difficult situation since he is the bridge between the Avengers and the government. Tony Stark is more on the side of Avengers, but the pressure the UN on him are too heavy for his shoulder. He thinks that the responsibility of the destruction Ultron made is connected to him, as he was the one who made Ultron. Captain Steve and Tony Stark called everyone for a meeting, and the Avengers team are on a table with Secretary of Defense Ross, aka the future Red Hulk. One of the straw that broke the camel's back was the last mission Captain leads, as many people are killed. Many media painted the Avengers as murderer, as many people only saw the red vapor at the side of the building that suddenly exploded, killing many people in the process. Wanda Maximoff have been blaming herself because of what happened, but Steve and Pietro are there to comfort her. It is an accident that Brock, aka Crossbones, a mercenary and former Hydra, made a suicidal explosion that should have killed the heroes on the ground. With Wanda's help many more people survive, but the explosion still created a good reason for the UN to propose the Accords to let the government control everything the Avengers do. Everything and everyone will be monitored, as they will be like private soldiers fighting for the world at the hands of the control of UN. Especially us three, Wanda, Pietro and Kane, are still on their database currently being investigated. I've been silent all along while the rest are saying their opinions. Tony and Natasha eyed me like there is something they want to ask, but leave it for later. I figured that they know I am the mastermind of the rich brats being massacred in the forest, so they are planning to ask me what really happened. Secretary Ross' speech continued. The world owed the Avengers an unpayable debt. You have fought for us, protected us and risked your lives. While some great many people see you as heroes, there are some who prefer to call you vigilantes. He eyed the people at the table. Natasha asked, and what word would you use, Mr. Secretary? Dangerous. What would you call a group of US-based enhanced individuals routinely ignored sovereign borders? The people of other country might think that Avengers are USA's military weapon to colonize other country. That's why they want to put supervision to the Avengers. Mr. Secretary presented a clips of what happened on New York War, the SHIELD and Hydra helicarrier battle, Sokovia Ultron floating city, and lastly was the explosion in Africa. These clips are taken from the angle which only shows the tragedy Avengers inflict to the people. Steve calmly said, "Okay, that's enough," but stress and frustration can be seen from his expression. Ross, for the past 4 years, You've operated with unlimited power with no supervision, and the government could no longer tolerate it. He looked everyone in the eye and continued, there is a solution. 117 countries signed to Sokovia Accords to let Avenger be supervised by UN and no longer be a private organization. There are contingencies. Rhodey spoke his concerns. Ross looked and said, yeah, 3 days from now the UN meets at Vienna to rectify the accords and talk it over. Natasha, and if we came to the decision you don't like? Mr. Secretary looked at her saying, then you retire. The next words should be, or you will be treated as criminals and the world will arrest you immediately. But the words need not to be vocal. When the team are in their own meeting, clashes of opinions are flying and everyone is making sense, but does not mean everyone will choose to understand them. They are powerful heroes but also a threat, and that's enough reason for the government of each country to take some authority from a powerful enhanced individual organization, the Avengers. Tony said his piece, there is no decision-making process here, we need to be put in check in whatever form. We are no different from the bad guys if we don't have limited access to power and authority, Tony said. Tony's stubborn personality and Steve that never give up to the things he thinks is right. The two starts to clash words as Tony favor limitation, but Steve already knows UN have people who have agenda that will limit their freedoms on how they choose to live. I stayed quiet the whole time as only Natasha keep looking at me from time to time, making sure I don't leave while in the middle of important talk. Steve, we may not be perfect but the safest hand is still our own. Tony, if we don't agree to this now, this will be forced to us soon and force our hands to fight back with the brand of criminals on our name. Wanda interjected, you're saying they'll come for me, us. Everybody look at us for. I just avoided their eyes to reduce my presence. Vision looked at us and said we will protect each other. Pietro just siding me to say something. I ignore his message and just keep reducing my presence. Natasha indirectly saved me from saying something. Maybe Tony is right, the government just want to cuff one hand from us, not complete control or limitations. We have to win their trust back and I know we are capable of that. Tony looked at her, you did agree to me, haven't you? Thank you. Looking at Tony's face, Natasha slightly regret what she said. The meeting continued for few minutes before Steve received a message. He got up, ignoring everything, and just focused on his way leaving the building. The team just look at him go as they understand his emotions and thoughts as they also received the same message, especially Natasha. Now that the meeting is postponed. Tony and Natasha looked at me and I instantly became center of attention. Natasha, you have something to report. Tony and Vision are also sure I have to report something to Natasha unless I'm no longer afraid of this female assassin. The others are waiting for me to say something while I tried forming word and reasons and maybe excuse. I used the holographic screen to present my report. I stumbled on something while performing my task. Here is the information. I showed them the events of what those rich brat is doing while still out there while hiding behind the law. I am also very angry when I found this, so I made a simple plan. Contact the victims' families who have hatred for this people to take a revenge by reversing the role. An eye for an eye if I say so. Others looked at me with slits eyes. I continued reporting. I mean, it is easy to do. I bombarded them with sleeping agent to their foods and at the same time used sound system to knock them out. Most of the equipment I bought was from the black market, but I also erased my footsteps. And then when they woke up again, the hunt began, but I am feeling more and more nervous from how they eye me, so I explain quickly, but I didn't kill anyone. All of those dead are killed by the victims' families. I help them get their revenge while also punishing those scums. I finished my report by they are stilling me up and down. Tony breaks the silence. Did you contact anyone, an expert? Natasha, what are you thinking? You just offended most of the elites on this country. I mean, no one knows I did the plan and I don't have blood on my hands, so I don't feel guilty taking out the trash, I argued, as I know Tony Stark already disabled eavesdropping on this whole building. And also you all are not unfamiliar with what I did, right? You all are predecessors of an eye for an eye and revenge. I smirk at them. Natasha still reminded me, just report first if you plan to do something dangerous like this. Tony advised me also limit your actions so that your heart won't be lost like those villains. I'm thankful they are more concerned to my mental health than the way I deal with those people. I know I'm just a simple person with no great ambition. Thank you for your concern. I will go back now and train. As I walk out, others are still thinking about my report. What a dangerous kid. He can plan like that just because of revenge. Pietro and Wanda follow me to the training room. Pietro wants to train more as he realizes his speed is still too slow to save everyone from that last mission. If I'm faster, I can take that suicide bomber to a place with no people without casualties. Wanda also have the same as his brother, her controls still need work. The next day Steve came back from mourning the woman he loved from the past to the present. Steve saw us training and chose to train with us for a day, as the next day he need to get ready for UN meeting. My training consists of sparring with Wanda, Pietro and Captain Steve. My use of optic blast is high proficiency because this is my main weapon beside my physique. I only hit Pietro 3 times over 100 times I shot. He's getting fast and we're each reading our pattern every time we spar. Wanda use shield and crimson blast, and telekinesis to spar with me, but I still won by taking advantage of her weak body. Her mental power is the most powerful, but she is still a human and can get hurt and bleed like normal human. With Steve, using everything I have, I still lost several times and one complete beat up when I ask him to use his shield while I use all I got. The other team members of the Avengers watching me get beat up by Cap again and again. Not much has changed from this situation since we first met. He just reflected my optic blast using his shield, and in closed combat, my advantage is wrecking the surroundings with my super strength with the use of solar energy. The next day, I visited Krista as soon as I got home to her apartment. We planned to have a good day playing and watching movie and have dinner at night at a fancy hotel. We had a date to do some recreational activity, watch the recent movie while having fun at the corner of the cinema. Maybe some couple noticed we are doing something intimate, but they disappear and also did the same thing at the other corner as I heard them. We look normal when we got out, but some people are not because some smell are bothering them, but not too much for them to complain. We continued having fun everywhere, eating what we thought was tasty and go shopping for clothes and items that she wants. I have small wealth as I did looting to some cartels, gangster and even medium organizations before they disappear. The victims I've saved only saw my clothes as my favorite color is black and I always look good in suits, so I bought simple suits to wear daily. My mask and uniform are only used when participating on bigger missions. So I spoil her as her aunt is supposed to fly here and visit her during her vacation. We need to buy more things to decorate her apartment and food and cooking equipment as her aunt likes cooking when she has free time. When we finished shopping, we chose to have them deliver it to the address. The person who decorated her apartment has a contact information on her phone, so she contacted that person to renovate the whole apartment for her. We had dinner at an expensive hotel and experienced the food of the rich and enjoy the treatment. Even though I don't get drunk as I have superhuman physique and also have not tried any alcohol or wine. Maybe just this night let us enjoy this time. We stayed at the rooftop gazing at the stars, spending time cuddling, and due to wine she started getting hot and we go back to our room. Once inside, French kisses the start, clothes thrown aside, dress fall on the floor and she get down to give me a head while I hold her letting her do the job. We have been together for more than a year and we don't put label to each other, as I already warn her that I might be a womanizer and have fun with women I met at other country or other place, so we accepted that we will be friends with benefits, but I also know her feelings for me. It's not like I'm gonna let her go to other men. I just propose to her as I might have difficulty having an offspring as my physique have been modified, so I'll try other women to have an offspring. Maybe that's just an excuse to have **** with as many women as I like. Deep into the night, we are still deep on each other's embrace while my thing is still deep in her. We directly slept, let the next morning worry about washing ourselves. We have played on the shower early morning and had breakfast at the hotel, then we checked out to see the newly renovated apartment. The apartment look wider as I bought her the next rooms to fully renovated a new room. I should get more money enough to buy the whole floor for her. All the wealth I have are enough for me to buy the whole floor, but renovation needed more money. I should work hard tonight. I decided to have a looting spree for this next few days. I talked to Krista about me buying the whole floor for her and let her decide the renovation style, and we immediately talked to the owner of this building. Fortunately, the owner is not that hard to talk, so we bought the whole floor and preparing for renovations. We just need to pay and everything will be handled by her friend. Krista stayed at the hotel with her things waiting for her aunt while I will have a looting spree the next few days. We did our goodbye **** and go to separate ways. Today is the day King T. Shaker will be killed by an explosion that will point to Bucky Barnes, while the real culprit is planning to break the Avengers. This will be inevitable to be Avengers, as both Tony and Steve's stubbornness will clash and civil war ensues. Baron Zemo, the culprit, but I just can't tell them that because I don't have any evidence. I just know what will happen. Will I am also forced to pick which side? No, I am free to do what I want. Who said I can't be the referee? Stay incognito and have a looting spree to other country and come back at the time when civil war is gonna happen. While thinking for other plans, I ask Keeper to find me where I can loot. Many dots are shown on the map. I chose not too far but not too close location. I began my clearing of bad guys on the darker part of the night. I am free to do my main weapon, the optic blast. It is fun to blast these criminals while knocking out those I don't consider that have crime. With only 5 minutes almost all the bad guys are down. The boss want to escape with all his wealth. I purposely slow down but show that I will sure defeat them. The boss takes all his wealth and just as want to drive away, I appeared on the side of his car, opened the door and take him out and blasted him for couple of dozen meters, making sure he will woke at the hospital or get killed by those he betrayed and abused. I have my mask on, so I told again to the people who are still watching, take all the valuables you can get at, burn this place to the ground. The I automatically translated it to their own language. I collect all my loots and this guy is rich. Some guys tried to oppress and steal from women and youngsters. I just throw pebble at them to comatose them, hoping they learn their lesson. When all the wealth are collected, the people cheered at me and thank me like I'm a hero. Well, I'm more like a thief who share my loots so that I can have accomplices. It's not a bad feeling saving those being oppressed and abused and giving them chance to get revenge and maybe start a new life. I'm getting hero vibes from Captain Steve. His influence to us is big since he is our mentor, friend and leader. I just need to smooth the clash of Tony and Steve so that they can still call each other when times of need is coming. I still kept flying, continuing my purpose of looting. I flew back and forth to my hideout to hide there my wealth at the top of the mountain like a temple. My wealth is accumulating fast and the people I saved told the story, and it is the start of my legend from being told to the kids how heroic and devilish I look when flying and using optic blast while suspended in the air. Even myself, I look at one of my photos on the internet, black clothes with dark long coat with white hoodie mounted on my shoulder like a cape. My mask that reveal on my eyes shining with optic blast makes my heroic figure more likable on aesthetic. Many considered me as hero, but some people are calling me vigilante. I don't care, I'm powerful and rich, so I still making names until Tony contacted me. Clint also contacted me, so it will start soon. That's it guys. Hope you like the video. Like, share and subscribe the channel. Also make sure to tell me your recommendation in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching.